Hello Nigeria, hello Africa. Yeah, this is Sound Man. Keep watching SOUQ News.
My name is Babalola from Excel LED. Keep watching SOUQ News.
My name is Shepherd Michael Adewale Onofuye. I enjoy you all to always watch SOUQ News TV.
Hi, I'm Tom Boggaballs, and please keep watching SOUQ News.
Wale Seriki, SLG Lagos Island East, SOUQ News. Keep out watching them and keep a lookout for them. They're up and coming, and we're proudly to be affiliated with them.
You alone where they make me go crazy. This your love in the cool of my brain. You're my medicine, I need you all day. Yo, it's Blackface Nigeria, and you're watching SOUQ News TV. Keep it locked on this dial, don't change it. You know what I say? Blackface Nigeria, love no bad.
Nigerian leather industry has a storied history, particularly in the northern parts of the country, where the art of leather farming and crafting has been perfected over centuries. Traditionally, leather was used primarily for functional items like sandals, bags, and saddles, with little emphasis on fashion. However, the narrative has changed drastically in recent years, as Nigerian leather has evolved from a utilitarian product to a symbol of luxury and high fashion. Here is a special report by Bayo Olaoye. The turning point for Nigerian leather came as local designers began to recognize its potential beyond traditional uses. They started to experiment with new designs, creating products that appeal to the modern consumer while maintaining the heritage of craftsmanship. The result has been a wave of leather products that are not only functional, but also stylish and desirable on the global stage. One of the key factors driving the revolution is the exceptional quality of Nigerian leather. Known for its durability and unique texture, Nigerian leather, particularly from goats and cattle, has become highly sought after by fashion houses both within and outside Africa. This demand has encouraged local artisans to up their game, focusing on quality control and finishing techniques to meet international standards. Moreover, Nigerian leather products have benefited from the global trend towards sustainable and ethically produced goods. Consumers are increasingly turning away from massively produced items in favor of the handcrafted, sustainable alternatives. Nigerian leather made using traditional methods with minimal environmental impact fits perfectly into this narrative. This has opened up markets for Nigerian leather goods, particularly in Europe and North America, where there is a growing appreciation for products with a story and a conscience. The rise of Nigerian leather on the fashion scene is also closely tied to the country's booming creative industry. Fashion designers, many of whom had gained international recognition, are incorporating leather into their collections and innovative ways, from sleek handbags and bespoke shoes to stylish jackets and accessories. The Nigerian leather is becoming a staple in high fashion. This trend is not only boosting the profile of Nigerian fashion, but also creating new opportunities for economic growth. The leather industry, once dominated by small-scale craftsmen, is now attracting significant investment. Entrepreneurs are setting up modern tannery and workshops, creating jobs and fostering skills development in the process. This industrialization of leather products is helping to formalize what was once an informal sector, leading to better working conditions and high incomes for artisans. However, the success of Nigerian leather market did not emerge without challenges. The industry still faces issues related to infrastructure, access to finance, and competition from imported goods. Additionally, there is the need for more investment in technology and innovation to further enhance the quality of leather products and make them more competitive in the global market. Despite these challenges, the future of Nigerian leather products looks bright. there is a growing recognition of the value of locally produced leather goods, both within Nigeria and globally. This is evident in the increasing number of fashion shows and trade fairs dedicated to promoting Nigerian leather products, as well as the rising demand from international buyers. The evolution of Nigerian leather from a utilitarian material to a symbol of high fashion is a testament to the creativity and resilience of the Nigerian artisans. It reflects the broader trend in the global fashion industry towards sustainability and craftsmanship. As the world continues to embrace African fashion, Nigerian leather is poised to become a major player on the international stage, offering a unique blend of tradition, quality, and style. This is just the beginning of what promises to be an exciting new chapter for Nigerian leather.
Hello Lagos, make we yarn.
Hello, boy, this POS matter don't pass your call. This go swipe, alert no enter. Before you know it, jump.
Wait, wetin really happen?
Maybe you fake alert the warriors.
Okay, so Mona listen, if you dey do POS business, no expose your alert.
Hello, Ogbuefi. They don't walk that bar road where they warrior for our local government for years.
This one sweet me, I no lie you. Because you know what, development where they work, it deserve loudspeaker. Now why we dey here be that? For here, we know the abuse, we dey bring solution. My name, it is Ikechukwu Oyemike, aka Ogbuefi Ishegwari.
Make we yarn every weekday from 10 a.m. go to 12 o'clock on Top the Eye 95.9 FM.
Welcome to Cashcraft, where opportunities meet insight. Today, we're journeying into the field of prosperity where towering oil palms wave not just leaves, but the promise of wealth. From the humid groves of Edo to the rich red earth of Delta, a quiet boom is unfolding. Dough has been there for many years, but we could take advantage of this. This is one opportunity that holds the key to food security, foreign exchange savings, and thousands of jobs. Yes, we're talking about palm oil, Africa's red gold. But how do you tap into this opportunity? What does it take to build a business around palm oil, from plantation to profit? Let's break it down, step by step. 1. Understand the landscape. The first step is knowledge. Nigeria's oil palm production has risen by over 41% in the past decades, from 8.2 million metric tons in 2014 to 11.6 million in 2023, according to the Food and Agriculture Organization. Yet, with over 200 million mouths to feed and rising global demand, we are still importing palm oil to close the gap. That's your opportunity to become a local producer or processor. Step 2, choose your entry point. There are 3 main ways to enter into the palm oil value chain. Palm plantation farming. Cultivating your own palm trees is long-term but rewarding. Now you can look at processing. Buying palm fruits, popularly known as banga, I'm sure you know that, and converting it into oil with machines. That's another one. And trading. You can buy and sell finished oil in local or export markets. Each has different startup costs and time frames, so you must match your capital, patience, and passion. Before I go further, remember that this is not a professional guide, rather a wake-up call that there are opportunities everywhere. Now let's go to step 3, get land or source supply. According to research, some initiatives like the Edo Oil Palm Development Program, EOPDP, and Delta State Delcom Scheme are making access to land to become easier. Findings shows that in Edo State, over 114,000 hectares have been allocated to both big and small investors, and over 65,000 hectares have already been accessed. In Delta, 130,000 hectares have been provided by communities under a cooperative model, with over 3,000 smallholders farmers already on board. Even if you can't own land, you can start small by sourcing fruit from cooperatives or leasing a small processing space. Of course you can. Now let's move to 4. Know the cost and time frame. It costs between $7,000 to $8,000 to cultivate 1 hectare of palm from nursery to maturity. But it takes about 3 to 4 years for the trees to start yielding. If you want quick returns, processing and trading may be better. You can buy a small-scale palm oil milling machines for 1.5 million to 3 million naira, or even less if you join a cooperative or lease. So let's go to step 5. Invest in knowledge and market access. Join farmer cooperatives like those in Delcom. They give access to training, markets, and funding. You can also link up with established companies like Presco and Okomo Oil. Yeah? I'm not marketing, but it's a way to tell you that, look, there are opportunities everywhere. All of these are listed on the Nigerian Stock Exchange. Step 6, think sustainability and value addition. Palm oil is not just for stew and soup. Yeah, think big. You can produce refined oil, cosmetics, biodiesel, and export-grade products. Investors are already joining this, and governments are backing it. You can do your research. There is also growing interest in eco-friendly farming and traceable supply chains. If you do it right, foreign buyers will come looking. Palm oil may have its controversies, but in Africa, especially in Nigeria, it is heritage, it is economy, it is future. The rise of Edo and Delta as palm oil giants is not just about hectares or harvest. It is about people creating jobs, reducing imports, and saving foreign exchange. If you are looking for a business with cheap roots and wide branches, palm oil may just be your calling. This has been Cashcraft, your guide to turning ideas into income. I am Grace Komalafe. Join us again next time, and remember, the ground beneath your feet might be your next big break. See you again.
Well, I think as the name goes, we're still faring very well. We're still holding on. Basically, Niger Delta Power Holding Company Limited is a Nigerian company owned by the federal government of Nigeria, the 36 states, and the 774 local governments. The federal government has 47% shares in NDPHC, and the 36 states and federal capital territory, plus the 774 local governments, own the remaining 53%. Originally, it was supposed to be a stopgap, build and sell power plants to increase the power availability. But in the process, as the company moved along, they discovered that if you build power plants, you also have to build complementary transmission networks. And then if you have transmission networks, you will also need the distribution network so that the power can ultimately get to the consumers. And so because of the gap that was in the sector at the time, Niger Delta Power Holding Company Limited was asked to build more power transmission networks, substations, injection substations. So over time, we had grown into the behemoth that we are today. Principally, we have 8 power plants functioning now, and then 2 are in the process of being completed. So that's what Niger Delta has been. But basically, I can say without any iota of contradiction that Niger Delta Power Holding Company Limited has been able to increase the capacity, the network capacity, by about 50%, and of course the distribution capacity by about 60%. We are capable of producing up to 4,000 megawatts now, but there are still some constraints in the transmission network, which is being addressed by the various arms of government and the various stakeholders in the sector. If I want to talk about the problems in the power sector, you need more than an hour program. They are multifaceted. And each time solutions are being found, they are not far-reaching enough. For instance, before the enactment of the Electric Power Sector Reform Act, it was thought that the problem was we didn't have enough generation power. And that's what gave rise to the NIPP, which is the National Integrated Power Projects, which was basically to increase the power availability in Nigeria. And there were gaps because at that time, I don't think the solution was holistic enough. I'm talking of during the time of President Olusegun Obasanjo. You remember the National Integrated Power Project was conceived at the time. And it's strange that for the past many years, we are talking about 4,000 megawatts, 4,000. In reality, the available power in Nigeria is about 16,000 megawatts now, between 13,000 and 16,000 megawatts. So you wonder, why are we producing or generating or putting on the grid about 4,800 megawatts? So there's a gap. And the gap is basically the fact that the present network is aged. It's inadequate. There is fragmentation in the sector. You have, as of today, about 26 different bodies in the power sector. And it's a typical Nigerian problem. Once Nigeria identifies a problem, they create another agency to deal with that problem, rather than looking at the problem in the eye and say, this is the problem. And I can give you so many examples. For instance, traffic, which is very basic to everybody. When after the Udoji Award in the early 70s, I think it was in the early 70s, and people had phoned to purchase cars, traffic began to grow. Now, instead of taking a holistic attitude and train the police to do what they're supposed to do, expand the road networks, and begin to put a culture of driving properly in the country, we created the yellow fever, the traffic wardens at the time. You remember at the time, traffic warden was separated from the Nigerian police. That's right. And the problem was not solved because the people were still constrained to virtually the same network of roads, more cars on the same network of roads. And then we stopped training drivers. So Federal Road Safety Commission was formed. And of course, I'm sure that you all know that the problem became worse. And now all of the state governments are creating their own variants of the Federal Road Safety Corps. An example is LASMA in Lagos. And the people are still on the same roads. So whereas we had 200 cars on a stretch of road, now we have 1,000. Now we have drivers who cannot read traffic signs, which are not even there. So today, when people see traffic lights, either in Abuja or in Lagos, they don't even know what to do. I'm sure that, I can't remember the last time we trained drivers in Nigeria. I cannot remember the last time we trained drivers in Nigeria. It's the same thing with the issue of corruption. When we detected, corruption was increasing, we started creating so many variants of, and I always ask the question, where is the equivalence of EFCC in the countries that we're trying to be like? So we have created EFCC, we have created ICPC, we have created Bureau for, what's that other agency? Sorry? No. Those are another problem entirely. The BP and the BPP, I'm talking of Code of Conduct Bureau. Okay. But in all honesty, can we say that corruption has reduced in Nigeria? Can we say that? So the problem is that we don't look at problems in the face and deal with the issue rather than creating bodies and bodies and bodies and bodies. We don't have the variants of EFCC, ICPC, and Code of Conduct Bureau in the countries that we're trying to be like. In this age and times, honestly, it's not rocket science. There is hardly anything you want to do that has not been done before or that is not being done in some other places. So you see in various sectors that once we identify a problem, rather than look the problem in the eye and providing solution to it, we create another body. It will appear to me that it is finding job for the boys, and that is one of the reasons why we are where we are today. I cannot remember the last time anybody had to do driving tests to obtain a driver's license. I can't remember. In the US, if you want to obtain a driver's license, it's a long process. And I remember my daughter, when she went to the US at the age of 18, I remember when she wanted to go and obtain a driver's license, she called me and said, "Daddy, please pray for me." And I think the first time she went there, she didn't make it. And it was one slight error. And eventually, she had to go back, to retake the test. So that's what I see that we're doing wrong. And that has virtually destroyed all the sectors. The power sector is faced with so many problems. I was trying to explain to you, for instance, that the discos have various coverage areas. And if you take them one by one, you will see that some of them are covering a landmass that is bigger than 2, 3, 4 African countries together. Somebody was on my secondary school classmates forum. Somebody was trying to do a comparison between Botswana and Nigeria. And I said, Botswana has 581,000 kilometers, square kilometers. But 70% of that is Kalahari Desert. So effectively, what they have is less than 100 and something thousand kilometers. Nigeria has a vast land. Botswana has a population of 2.5 or 2 point something million. You can't compare that to, there's no basis. There's no basis. And so if they have 1,000 naira, their GDP is likely to be higher than that of Nigeria. Nigeria has 210 million people. Yes, officially. You know, you can see the population of Lagos. I'm sure that the population of Botswana is not as thick as Surulere alone. I am not trying to give excuses for what we are in Nigeria or how we're doing things badly. But I'm saying that we have a giant problem. We have giant problems in all of the areas. And we need to put our heads together to provide solutions to these problems. You know, you can say that Nigeria is a country in progress. I know that we have enough human resources. We have enough intellectuals to find solutions to our problems. And I'm beginning to see that the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is tackling the problems headlong. I don't want to say that they work in silos. I mean, it would not be absolutely correct. I don't want to say that. That would be too negative. I would like to say that there's need for better collaboration between all of them. And then one of the greatest things that we need to do is that there must be a coordinating agency that is not encumbered with or by bureaucratic procedures. Okay, NEC is supposed to be the regulator in the society. Now, like I said before, if you have a regulator, they must be trained. And we shouldn't be ashamed to train our regulators and to ensure that we have the right people in those positions. But like I said, almost all the agencies in Nigeria, you find a lawyer heading an engineering company. You know, I mean, it's not done. And what happens is that I don't want to create a war between professions. But the truth of the matter is that if you are a lawyer and you have, you're doing legal consultancy in the sector, that doesn't make you to be chief executive of a purely engineering company. You know, the last time it was an accountant that was in charge of one of the parastatals in the sector, and you know, even now that there's a new government, you see all kinds of people trying to outdo each other here and there. TCN, for instance, is supposed to be in charge of the transmission networks. But you have the independent ISO under them. How is that going to work? I mean, that is supposed to be an independent, and it cannot be under TCN. You know. The discos, for instance, who is supervising them? NERC is supposed to supervise them. But you have on the board BPE, you know, that has 40% of the shares, and they're supposed to monitor them. Are they doing that? And then, now the Yoruba people say, Amukun eru ewo, oni ewo saleni. That is, if a man is crippled or has bent knees and is carrying a load, it's not likely that the load will be straight because the legs are bent anyway. So that is the problem that we have. You know, the root cause, we are not attacking the root cause. You know, the electricity power sector reform has a transition program. But unfortunately, because we didn't do the privatization properly, we gave it to people who have no financial resources. They borrowed money from the banks to purchase the concession anyway, or because they borrowed money from the bank, they don't have enough funds to repair the aging facility that they inherited. So that is a problem. Now the bank is on them. The bank lent them money for 5 years, or whereas this is a sector that is, you need long-term fund. You need to have enough money to lay new cables, replace transformers. Some of these transformers have been there since 1960-something, to replace them. Look, where I come from in Ondo South Central District, we have not had power for up to 15 years now from the national grid. Everybody is an electricity generator company on his own. When we stepped into it to see what was happening, we discovered that the distribution company did not have enough money to repair the damaged distribution networks. So NDPC stepped into it, and we've spent almost 3 billion to repair all of that. Or almost 3 billion. I mean, we're talking about 6 local governments. At a point, by the time we had finished the reticulation of the networks in 5 of the local governments, we discovered that the source of supply is from Ondo. Ondo has a 2 by 30 MVA substation. One of that substation is gone. So it means that the distance of almost 100 kilometers from Ondo to Ore and to Ilaje, to Bokoda area, to Mahin and Co. Just one single 33 kV line is coming from that. So by the time the light gets to Okitipupa, what you have is candle light. It's the same thing we saw in Lafia, for instance. For years, Lafia, even the government house in Lafia, was being operated on generator because the single line feeding Lafia and the entire Nasarawa state is from Abuja. So that's why we stepped in and built the 330, 132, 33 kV substation, which was commissioned early last year by President Muhammadu Buhari. And you can see the joy in the faces of the people. Now, in Ondo South Central District, for instance, they are building the NDDC, not NDPHC, is building a 132 kV substation in Uderinije, which should help to bring power from Omotosho and to that area. But they have been on it for years now. And without the completion of that, there's nothing that can happen in the place. They will still have candlelight. So these are the problems. Now, NDDC is independent of NEC. It's virtually independent of the DISCO. It's independent of but they are doing a good work because they have offered to do, they have identified the problem and they have offered to do it. But who is coordinating these activities to ensure that everybody is working? And you know, one of the things I always complain about is that since this past 6-10 years, for instance, TCN has many of its projects are 85-90% completed. Some of the problems are just way-live, that the government should collaborate with the state governments to resolve. But what do you have? A substation is ready in Akure, for instance. A 330 kV substation is ready in Akure. The transmission line is supposed to come from Oshogbo to Akure, and another transmission line is supposed to come from Benin and drop in Akure. Because of way-live issue along the route from Oshogbo to Akure, that project has been stalled for almost 6 years. So there has to be an organization that is above neck, that is linked only to the president, that will look at all of these things. I talked about the fragmentation in the sector. You know, look, and let me tell you something. I know that electricity is a commercial venture. And when you put your money there, you should be able to recover your investment. However, it's also a social contract between the government and the people. It's a social contract. You know, so if you have such a transmission line, everybody should be involved. And I remember that it has to be a responsibility. I remember when we were doing a project in Owerri. And because the transformers have been there for a long time, we needed to remove the transformers to a workshop somewhere in Ikorodu there for repairs, so that when they take them back, it can function properly. And we had given authority to the EPC contractor to go and remove the transformer. But of course, when the community saw that they were removing their transformer, this was a transformer that has not been functioning for the past 10, 15 years. They refused to let them go, and the governor had to intervene. The governor also refused to let them take the transformer away. I had to personally intervene with the governor, speak with the governor, write an undertaking before the transformer can be moved to the workshop for repairs. It's not repairs, really, but you know they need to change the oil and make sure it's in good working condition, because it's been on the plinth for 15 years. So there has to be a coordinating agency that is devoid of bureaucratic encumbers. Initially, NDPC was created from the Federation account. The initial seed money for NDPC was from the Federation account. However, since we started producing electricity, let me put it that way, we don't receive subvention from the government. So our revenue is from the sale of electricity, sale of energy to the network and to what we call willing buyers. For instance, you will see that we still, even outside the country, we sell power to countries outside Nigeria. Yeah. So that's how we derive our, but because also we are owned by the 3 tiers of government, we have also embarked on working with the other sectors to improve the network. For instance, we build distribution. So from the profit that we have, we build distribution networks virtually in all. There is no state in Nigeria that has not felt the impact of NDPC. And then we, like I said, the transmission substation in Lafia was constructed by NDPC. It's like LNG. The LNG cannot receive subvention from the federal government anymore. Of course, initially, government put in their own investment and the private sector put in their own investment. I'm hoping that we will move away from this structure in NDPC. I'm really hoping that we'll and adopt the NLG structure, for instance, and bring in a huge investor to acquire 49% so that we can start operating like an LNG. There's a lot of confusion in the society, and even those even some high government officials don't even know the functions of NDPC. They don't even know. We were in a gathering some time ago, and a former minister who claimed to have been a part of the conception of NDPC was annoyed when somebody threw a question at him, and he said, "What are you talking about? I don't have power in my house, and you guys are sitting down there." And I had to lecture him and say, "Hey, I'm not supposed to put power in your house. I'm just a businessman. you know, in the sector, producing oil, producing power, electricity, like every other person, like, what's the name of Elumelu's Transcorp Power, and selling it. That's all we are. The problems are enormous. But I believe very strongly that the discos as they are now don't have the capacity. There has to be a restructuring of that sector. Under whatever you want to call it, maybe breaking their franchise into little bits. One or two of them are doing well. Eco, Disco, Ikeja Disco, yeah. Because, and also, you know, the problems are different. So, but for most of them, look, if you, let me give you an example. If you need to, under Yola Distribution Company, I mean, you know how wide that sector, I mean, that part of the country is. If you need to take a 33 kV line from one town to the other, you may be doing 100 kilometers. Whereas under the Eco Disco franchise, I mean, 100 kilometers will do 2, 3, 4, 5 communities. So we need to restructure these discos. We need to support the discos to develop a new program tailored to reduce ATC and C losses. What is ATC and C? Aggregate technical, commercial, and collecting losses. Now, when you take power from Ondo, for instance, to Ilaje, 100 kilometers, by the time, and don't forget that along that route, you are dropping power for Ore, for Ajebandele, for this, for that. By the time you get to the end, what you have is candlelight. So you will need to, and the discos don't have the finances to do these things. I said earlier that the privatization was not properly done. I'm not sure that those people have an understanding of what they were getting into. Everybody thought the power sector was like the telecommunications sector. But it is not. The amount of infrastructure that you need to put in place, physical infrastructure that you need to put in place for power is totally different from that. Because apart from your cell in telecommunication and the handset there's nothing that you need to do. You probably don't need to put poles, pay compensation. Fiber optic is for specific areas. I mean, for specific things, and it doesn't stop the telecommunication facilities. Yes, exactly, from functioning very well. So that the difference is, but you cannot send power remotely. You need cables, you need poles, you need transmission lines, you need all sorts of things. You need transformers. The discos should be responsible for them. But when they don't have the fund, what do? You can see that many of them, about 7 of them, are under receivership now. Some sort of receivership or the other. You can see. Because they borrowed money from the banks and they were not able to pay back within the time they thought, I mean, they were going to be able to pay back. You have to deal with each one of them, you know, on it has to be a tailored solution to each disco. You cannot apply the same brush for all of them. Well, the truth of the matter is that at some point, there will be increase in tariff. However, this is not the time for it. I mean, Nigeria, I mean, we are doing a lot of reforms now. The removal of the subsidy has increased the cost of living in Nigeria. The exchange rate, harmonization of the exchange rates is also going to affect the economy and the earning power of the common Nigerian, even though that should not be the case, because I can tell you for free that no business organization was charging their customers based on the 400 and something naira to the dollar that the CBN was and that's a fraud on its own, because CBN knows that there's nobody who is selling anything in Nigeria decides the cost of that good based on the CBN exchange rate. It's simple, because they are not sure that they will get. I mean, when they need to replace machinery, raw materials, they were not sure that they could get the dollars from CBN. So this is the best thing that could have happened.
The Naira float.
The Naira float is the best thing that can happen to our nation, Nigeria. And I'm surprised, because every expert and non-expert had been advising CBN to do this for so long. So I'm surprised that the CBN was reluctant to do what is needful, and that's about the corruption in the system. So this is not the time, and I'm advising government too. This is not the time to increase tariff. Honestly, subsidizing the power sector is not good for the economy, because the truth of the matter is that 80% of the subsidy in the power sector is being enjoyed by people who can afford to pay for electricity. That's the truth. The low tariff pays only the rich. You know, the poor people just take advantage, just like in fuel too. Look, if you have 10 cars and you put all the 10 cars on the road, the poor man has only one way to go, just to go to office and come back, and you know. But the man who has 10 cars will want, the wife will take one, the children will take one, the workers will take one, and that's what is happening in the sector. So yes, this is not the time to think about increasing tariff. It will look, in the past, the cost of diesel was very high, right? Now, a lot of people migrated to using petrol generators. Now the cost of petrol is even almost higher than the cost of, because petrol burns faster, you use more petrol for your generator than diesel. So, generating power in your house now, where you don't have power supply from the national grid, is a big problem. No, there's no doubt in my mind that we need to migrate to prepaid meter. I mean, not only intelligent meters, so that when we have intelligent meters, nobody can manipulate their consumption. You know, if you go to some hotels in the past, all of the heavy-duty consuming equipment, their laundry, their air conditioners are connected directly, or they bypass the meters, you know. But if you have intelligent networks, that cannot happen, because it will be discovered and then you will be dealt with appropriately. So there's no doubt in my mind that everybody, and it's in the interest of the consumer too, to acquire prepaid meters. And it's not the only prepaid meters that the discos should supply. It should be intelligent networks. Of course, I said earlier that they don't have the money to do it. They don't have the funds.
What will the intelligent network do?
Look, if you had an intelligent network in a place like this, for instance, you can determine what is happening without you being there. Even on your phone, you can control, your this thing. So I'm just trying to use that to explain what it is. So if you have an intelligent network, the discos in their control rooms will be able to monitor and ensure that energy theft is reduced to the barest minimum, and they can ensure proper operations in their own sector.
Hello, Lagos. Make we yarn.
Hello, boy, this POS matter, don't pass your code. This go swipe, alert no enter. Before you know it, jump.
Wait, wetin really happen?
They use fake alert, the warriors.
Okay, so wanna listen, If you dey do POS business, no expose your alert.
Hello, Ogbefi. They don't walk that bar road where they worry for our local government for years.
This one sweet me, I no lie you. Because what development with the work, it deserve loudspeaker. Now why we dey here be that? For here, we know the abuse, we dey bring solution. My name, it is Ikechukwu Oyemike, aka Ogbefi Ishegwari.
Make we yarn every weekday from 10 a.m. go to 12 o'clock on Top the Eye 95.9 FM.
Augmented reality, AR, is a technology that merges computer-generated images with the user's real-world view, creating a composite experience. This interactive experience integrates various sensory modalities, such as things you can see, hear, and even feel, making the experience interactive and immersive. In recent years, the emergence of this transformative technology has seamlessly integrated digital and physical realms. This groundbreaking innovation relies on specialized hardware like smartphones and smart glasses equipped with cameras and sensors, AR software, and Apple's AR Kit and Google's AR Core. Then creates immersive experiences by overlaying virtual content onto the user's real-world environment. AR software such as Apple's AR Kit and Google's AR Core then creates immersive experiences by overlaying virtual content onto the user's real-world environment. AR's applications span diverse industries from gaming to education, healthcare, retail, and manufacturing. In education, AR enhances learning through interactive and dynamic experiences, while in healthcare, it aids surgical planning and medical training. Retail experiences are transformed as AR enables customers to virtually try on products and visualize furniture in their homes. Despite its potential, AR faces challenges such as technical advancements and user privacy concerns. Overcoming these hurdles will unlock even more seamless and immersive AR experiences, making it an integral part of our daily lives. As technology progresses, the horizon for AR broadens, promising a future where our interactions with the world are richer and more interconnected. Augmented reality is not just a trend, it's a revolution shaping the way we live, learn, and work. Goma Fortune, SOUQ News.
Rest isn't laziness, it's your body's reset button. Hello, my name is Emmanuel Olise, and this is SOUQ Health Tips. Today, let's discuss one of the most underrated health boosters, sleep. You can eat right and exercise daily, but without good sleep, your body never truly recovers. Number 1, sleep is cellular repair. During deep sleep, your body heals, builds muscles, and restores energy. It's also when your brain clears out toxins and strengthens memory. 2, stick to a schedule. Go to bed and wake up at the same time every day, even on weekends. Your body thrives on rhythm. 3, create a sleep sanctuary. Dim lights, cool temperature, and 0 screens before bed. Your bedroom should tell your body it's time to rest. 4. Avoid late caffeine and heavy meals. They interfere with deep sleep stages. Opt for herbal tea or light snacks instead. In summary, sleep isn't optional, it's essential medicine. Protect it like you would any prescription. I'm Emmanuel Lise, and this is SOUQ Health Tips. Sleep well, your body's counting on it.
We've got just what you need right here at Femi Wash Media. Call it the Midas Touch, and you wouldn't be wrong. Let us record, produce, mix, and master your audio like nobody does. Reach us on our contact today for the best quality job.
I'm from Akwa Ibom State, Eke local government precisely. My primary school at Akwa Ibom Church Primary School, so young Eket, where I grew up in the early 70s. I moved into government secondary school at Eket. I finished my school set in 1981. It was a jolly good experience. Before I moved over to Lagos, where I did my higher school, Federal School of Art and Science, Victoria Island. And from where I took my JAM, then I got admission to study English and literary studies in the great University of Calabar. Growing up was fun, education was fun. We enjoyed the bits of life, all we went through there, from primary to secondary school, the dormitory lives, my friends, my colleagues. Coming over to Lagos was quite an experience. My first time in Lagos, arriving after a tortuous journey back then. Went over to VI, studied along with some blue chip children, Federal School of Art and Science then, as it was called, just where you have the law school now. It was quite an experience. And back to University of Calabar, we had quite a drill, the studies of English language and literature. I happen to have specialized in literature, where we did a thorough work on all the spheres of literature, the landscape of literature. We almost exhausted it with key professors and lecturers. Talking about Afro-American literature, Caribbean literature, South African literature, Russian literature, literature of social protests. Then we come back to African literature, where we explored the whole landscape. African literature, African drama, African prose, and storytelling, folk tales, and trickster stories. It was a huge experience that changed my life. And coming over here, finished our youth service, did my youth service in Imo State then. We had respect as corpers. We were well treated. And came over back to Lagos, looking for work in Lagos, 1988, 89. We started a magazine in Lagos here. We call it the Hits magazine. It was tailored after the Right On magazine. It was a music magazine. We started that stuff in Lagos here, and then we couldn't sustain it because of the finances. Luckily for me, I was able to run, got a job with the bank, and then I started a marketing aspect for the bank. From the bank, the merchant bank, when the bank went under, I decided to go solo. That brought me to the book industry. I have always have this passion for books. right from my primary school to my secondary school. My mom was a teacher, a successful teacher. We were encouraged to read books. We used to hide ourselves in the libraries, my local government libraries. So when I got admitted to the University of Calabar, all our long vacations, we were always found in the library. Of course, there was no GSM then. The library was our contact space, where we go to the library to get information about when the school is going to resume, because apart from news, radio and all that, you may not know when the school is going to resume. But when you meet with your friends, you know, in the library there, we meet with some other undergraduates, Uniben, SOUQ, Ife, some of our friends who were studying there, who came home for long vacations. I mean, we interact with them, and before you know it, we hear, you people are going to resume this, that, and that's how my passion for books gets strengthened. When we resume schools, we exchange novels. We look for novels to read. We look for African writers series. We look for Headley Chase. We look for exotic books. We started collecting books. When we finished reading, we shared the books to our friends. We talked about the books, and from there, we were able to explore the world. We sat down in the library and we knew what was happening in the apartheid South Africa. I did so much about the history of South Africa. I read about the Zulu aftermath. I read about the Mau Mau Wars, the challenge of colonialism, the pro-colonial times. I had a good teacher who taught me history in the secondary school, Miss Tooten. He did a yeoman's job. He led us through the whole spectrum of West African history. West African history by Adekunle Aromolaran. We talked about the Oyo Empire, Songhai Empire, Timbuktu, the Great Mali Empire. You know, all these things stir up our curiosities. And since then, we never departed from books. We have worked in close association with the Institute of Public Analysts of Nigeria, IPAN. These are people that do analysis for products, water analysis, analysis of waste and effluent, radioactive activity, food and drug analysis. We have worked with quality control experts across the industries. We have worked with establishments where they do root crop research. We have worked with the pharmaceutical research industries, medical research bodies, malaria research establishments, cancer research establishment. These people look for us for specialized information in the management of special disease and treatment. Treatment in oncology. People in the area of traditional medicine, alternative medicine, natural medicine. They look for, we are partnering with the Nigerian Institute of Science and Technology, Institute of Natural Medicine in Victoria Island, to work with them in the area of the development of herbal medicines in Nigeria. We have books we partner with them to promote. You see, medicinal plants from eastern Nigeria, medicinal plants from the northeast, medicinal plants from the southwest, medicinal plants from the south-south. We market these books for people who want to know. No, we are working now on the production in partnership with relevant institute of the Nigerian pharmacopoeia. We know about the British pharmacopoeia. We know about the American pharmacopoeia, the Japanese pharmacopoeia, and herbology. We are working towards having the Nigerian pharmacopoeia. This is going to be a compendium of materials that talks about medicinal plants of value, medicinal plants that have healing properties. We are working with specialists, pharmacognosy, phytochemists, and by God's grace, this is going to come into fruition. We partner with the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria and all kinds of health bodies that we can't even mention. So many of them invite us for their annual conferences, which is rotated across different states in different years across the nation. So we've traveled, and in most of these conferences, you have experts, deans of faculties, heads of departments that reach out to us with information in books and journals that are relevant for their students and for their practitioners. We don't only market reference books and textbooks in all fields of study, all fields of human endeavor. We also market relevant journals, research journals, peer-reviewed journals in sociology, in psychology, in law, research journals in oncology, in public health, community medicine, in nursing, research journals in nutrition and dietetics, food science, international relations. We partner with the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs in Victoria Island. We have key journals in world affairs, African affairs, and these journals will help them to distribute to all relevant establishments and departments that need it. So it has been a great job, very taxing and exciting. Each book added a new spectrum of learning and knowledge for us. When we got into literature and poetry, we explored a whole lot. When we went into American history, the black history, we read about the nation of Islam. We read about Elijah Muhammad. We knew the struggle they had to go through, racism and all that stuff. And it really inspired us to see what we can do to add value to knowledge. And it has brought us this far. So it's been passion, not really born out of the money or whatever. Of course, when you have value to present, you'll be appreciated in many ways. We have had sundry appreciations from establishments, from institutes across West Africa and beyond. You know, we partner with international publishers all over the world to source cutting-edge materials for our clients. We take pains to go through a lot of materials that come in here. Whether there are new materials or whether there are new, we believe that when you are doing research, it is what is called cross-cultural research. You start from the past and then come to the present. Research in any field, what happened before, where we were before, and where we are now, and then we look forward. So we have a lot of materials for our clients, and we are on an endless journey of search. When we started this business, we came face to face with HIV. We go after books on HIV and AIDS. We got them across to our clients and our readers. As we went further, Ebola came, and we sourced for materials for medical virologists. It's a virus. Clinical virology, we gave the books to them, and they were very happy. We got the materials. We did what is called public health awareness to get the people assured that these things are preventable. That is not the end of life. You see, when you have the information, you have the confidence to practice, you are not scared of whatever. Whatever is coming in probably had happened before. All we need is for new information to combat the emerging diseases. There are journals that deal with emerging infectious diseases. We provide these materials for practitioners, and it has served the purpose over the years. The secret of my success has been the impartation of specialist knowledge, tertiary knowledge for professionals. You know, education and learning is a lifelong journey. People talk about continuous professional development. For instance, in the media world and the real estate world, we have partnered with people who are doing media studies, you know, the print media, the electronic media, mass communication as a whole. We have provided a lot of materials for them. So now we have specialists in the media. We have special editors, screenwriters, short story writers, photojournalists, you know, and we provide them these materials. In the real estate world, we have attended conferences of real estate practitioners, providing cutting-edge materials for them in real estate development, information technology, property development, property law. All these materials assist them in the practice of real estate. We have gone far more. We work with people, the QS, quantity surveyors, town planners, environmental managers, people who do environmental audits, environmental impact assessment, you know, space planning. We work with them, you know. And these materials we get from all across the world. If you are practicing in this area and you need materials to improve your services and the value you are creating, you will need us. We have a whole list of experts in different fields that reach us when they have challenges, when they have need for special information to solve specific problems. They reach out to us. They call, yeah, a bookman, all range. We need books in this area. For instance, we had a former Minister of Health, that great woman, Ponja Iwala. She will always call us, look, all range, we need books on international economics. And we used to give her books on international economics. And many other experts like that. We have books for people who are doing radioactive interventions, people who are doing environmental management, people who are doing analysis, food analysts, all over the spectrum. We provide books for them. Food engineering, we give them books on food contaminants, food additives. These are not books to just go to anywhere and get. We have been able to interface with them, Nigerian Institute of Food Science and Technology. Reading has a tremendous impact on influence on human life. It helps you to appreciate issues, ideas, views, and opinion. It makes you an active participant in intellectual discourse and in intellectual environment. You are not ignorant of what is happening around you. It makes you a leader. Yes, not all readers are leaders, but most impactful leaders are readers. Books will change you. Books will empower you. books will give you self-confidence. When I sit down with architects and I'm discussing, I talked about landscape architecture. I talked about interior design. They begin to wonder whether I studied architecture. Then I started talking with oncologists, gynecologists, maybe gynecological oncologists. They think that maybe I studied medicine. I didn't do no medicine. I've been able to read some books, interface with them. I have attended their workshops, so many, and I've read their books. Some books that come to me, I try to go through the introduction and the preface. I try to. Books in all areas. You understand? I was looking at a book on anesthesiology, and I found out that no serious surgery could be carried out without an anesthetist. Surgical intervention, is it abdominal surgery? Is it cancer oncology? You need a professional. These are people that manage the airways. When the patient has been numbed with drugs for the intervention, the surgical experience, maybe for 3, 4, 5 hours, there has to be a resuscitation. And this is the specialist area for anesthetists. Not all doctors can handle that. You are doing cesarean section. You are doing ENT surgery. You need them. So you have a team of doctors that will invariably handle a serious, for instance, at the orthopedic hospital, we want to do amputation. You have the plaster people, you have the hematologist, you have the anesthesiologist, and you have the surgeon, who is a very good orthopedic surgeon to handle amputation, whether it's amputation of the legs and all that, because they have to manage, the hematologist will manage the loss of blood, then the anesthetist, then the orthopedic nurse will be there. Then we have the theater nurse will be there. All of them well kitted for the operations. It will look as if they are going to travel to Mars. Safety procedures, management of spills, cleaning, and everything. Then rolling the patients to a special, maybe it's an amenity ward where they are going to keep the person to manage the post-operative procedures and all that. Of course, there are pre-surgical experiences, the tests, the examinations, the review and all that before the real process. So these are not things we learned overnight. It has taken a process of time. And we got to know that, oh, this is how the deal is done. Great insurgents of e-materials, e-books, digital books, and of course, the World Wide Web. It has helped us to access materials easily. But you see, initially people were afraid that with the advent of the e-books and all that, that the textbooks, the physical books, will be phased out. But that is far from the truth. Libraries still get their core text and materials. They have the sections for the core text and materials and journals and serials. Then they have the section we call the digital libraries. polytechnic libraries, university libraries across the countries, they have these sections. But my experience with these digital libraries has been the management of digital libraries, the power situation in Nigeria, and the maintenance culture. Most of the institutions that started with the e-library, they have always come back to complain that these materials, within a short spell of time, because of instability of power. You know, the computers and all the digital infrastructures, they need steady and standby power supplies. Most of them have acquired the solar systems to power these equipments, but truly speaking, it has not been sustainable. Sometimes we had some dubious students vandalize these facilities, and then people always have to fall back on books. With the smartphones now, students can get a lot of materials and all that, and they read, but I can tell you that people who are doing serious research, they come back to us for books. You are doing research, you have to do your references, your bibliography. You have to show evidence, materials you have read, both online and offline. You are doing your doctorate program, master's program, to whatever level. At the level we are now, we believe that we've added value to education, to training, and to teaching. Our next phase now, we're trying to see how we can give back to the society through our interface with like-minded NGOs. We are started our book cafe, all-range book cafe, where we invite people. It's a private library to come and read and study in a relaxed atmosphere, where you can come in and do your book reviews. If you're a writer, you come in and do your book reviews, review your textbooks. Going forward too, we also have our NGO, which we are working on, that borders on environmental management. We call it the Campaign for Sustainable Environment. This is a program we have been running the last 5 years. We are talking about global warming and climate change. We do environmental education.
Hello Nigeria, hello Africa. Yeah, this is Sound Man. Keep watching SOUQ News.
My name is Babalola from Excel LED. Keep watching SOUQ News.
My name is Shepherd Michael Adewale Onofuye. I enjoy you all to watch, always watch SOUQ News TV.
Hi, I'm Tom Boggables, and please keep watching SOUQ News.
Wale Seriki, SLG Lagos Island East, SOUQ News, keep out watching them and keep a lookout for them. They're up and coming, and we're proudly to be affiliated with them.
You alone where they make me go crazy. This your love in the cool of my brain. You're my medicine, I need you all day. Yo, it's Blackface Nigeria, and you're watching SOUQ News TV. Keep it locked on this dial, don't change it. You know what I say? Blackface Nigeria, love on the bad.
Hello and welcome to another episode on Cashcraft, the show that helps you see business where others see problems. Today, we're talking about plastic waste recycling, a hustle that's turning pollution into profit. Without taking much of your time today, let's dive straight into it. We start with the steps. Step 1, start with collection. Plastic is everywhere. Sachets, bottles, packaging. But for business, PET bottles are gold. Start by partnering with waste pickers, shops, schools, or run your own buyback point. Now you're going to offer incentives. It could be 100 naira per kilogram, depending on location and type. You need to do research on that actually. So once collected, bottles must be sorted by color and type. So you know, clean, clear bottles fetch more money. So pay attention. Let's go to step 2. Clean, crush, cash, next. What am I talking about? Wash them. remove caps and labels, then crush or shred them into flakes using a plastic crusher. These flakes are what buyers, local or export, actually want. Now, clean, well-sorted flakes commands better prices. Think 200 to 350 naira per kilogram depending on quality. So with a semi-automatic line, you can process up to 1 ton daily. That's real volume and real money. Let's go to step 3. You need to know your market, your buyers, including local manufacturers or plastics textile companies, and even exporters. That's very important. You never can tell. Some flakes are shipped to India, China, Vietnam, or reused here in Nigeria to make buckets, chairs, or even new bottles. So let me give you a pro tip. You need to form relationships with aggregators or industrial buyers. And if you can process into pellets or fiber, your margins jump like boom. So step 4, add value, add impact. Don't just collect, create. Now some entrepreneurs now turn waste into tiles, paving bricks, and designer bags. I tell you, a lot is happening with recycling bottles. So you reduce plastic pollution and you add jobs while doing it. Step 5, learn the rules. This business is tied to regulations. So register with local waste authorities, and if you plan to export, get listed with NAFDAC or the Nigerian Export Promotion Council, NEPC. Now complying means credibility and access to big opportunities. Recycler, na bottle we dey see everywhere, gutter, road, market, but with correct machine, you fit make better money. The work dey stressful, but if you no lazy, e go pay. Of course, there are challenges: dirty waste, poor sorting, market fluctuation. Sometimes power supply slows down operations, but where others see nuisance, you should see niche. It's a dirty business with clean money. So here is your takeaways. Plastic recycling isn't just about helping the environment. It's a smart hustle. It's scalable, impactful, and already reshaping communities. From bottle to bank account, plastic is profit if you know the game. And I am Grace Komalafe. I'm here reminding you that waste is only waste when you waste it. Until next time, keep crafting your cash.
Optimism is a strategy for making a better future, because unless you believe that the future can be better, you are unlikely to step up and take responsibility for making it so. Responsibility is the price of greatness. How else can one explain the thought process of a 24-year-old youth leaving the luxurious comforts in the United States to fill in for his incarcerated father in sub-Saharan Africa, Nigeria, and run a family business holding the fort till stability was achieved? This is the story of Abdul Samad Rabiu, an unassuming, silent achiever. Samad Rabiu attended Capital University, Columbus, Ohio, and returned to Nigeria to oversee the family business when his father, Ishaku Rabiu, was detained by the administration of General Muhammadu Buhari for allegedly not paying the rice report duties. Not only was his father under investigation, the family business was under scrutiny. These harsh realities of being thrust right into the middle of it all shaped the young man's resolve to hard work in silence. Abdul Samad Rabiu is the son of one of Nigeria's foremost industrialists, late Khalifa Ishaku Rabiu, founder of Ishaku Rabiu and Sons Group. The family operated holding company with a history of investment in manufacturing, insurance, banking, and real estate. In the 1970s, the group invested in manufacturing, with its first investment being the Kano Suits and Packaging Cases Company, a factory producing suitcases and handbags. In 1972, the Bagauda Textile Mill, manufacturing woven clothes for uniforms, importing and trading in different segments of the economy, including frozen food service, sugar, and a motor vehicle and parts distribution company specialized in Daihatsu products. Abdul Samad Rabiu was born with a very big silver spoon in the ancient city of Kano on the 4th day of August in 1960, 57 days to Nigerian independence. 24 years later, responsibility beckoned. He was in the family business until 1988. Abdul Samad Rabiu, following in the steps of the family business to establish BUA Bois International Limited in 1988. Solely for commodity trading, Bois International Limited imported rice, edible oil, flour, iron, and steel. The much-needed wins to his sale came in 1990. The government, owners of the Dettol Steel Company, got into a contract with Bois to supply its raw materials in exchange for finished products. This was the young company's much-needed windfall. Bois expanded further into steel, producing pellets, importing iron ore, and constructing multiple rolling mills in Nigeria. Nigerian Oil Mills Limited, the largest edible oil processing company in Nigeria, was sadly bought by Bois in 2005. Bois started 2 flour milling plants in Lagos and in Kano. By 2008, Bois had broken an 8-year monopoly in the Nigerian sugar industry by commissioning the second largest sugar refinery in sub-Saharan Africa. In 2009, the company went on to silently acquire a controlling stake in a publicly listed cement company in northern Nigeria, Sokoto Cement, and began to construct a $900 million cement plant in Ogu-Ogbela, Edo State, completed and commissioned in 2015, which is at that time the single largest non-oil investment in South Nigeria, and had a capacity of 6 million metric tons per annum upon completion of the second line. This was followed by a new 1.5 million metric tons line in Sokoto in 2018 and another 3 million metric ton line, which commenced in 2020 and was commissioned in 2022, bringing the total installed capacity for his cement holdings to 11 million metric tons as of January 2022. Abdul Samad Rabiu is very entrenched with his family in business, having over 40 siblings. His younger brother, Rabiu Ishaku Rabiu, was the CEO of IRS Airlines Limited, an airline based in Abuja, Nigeria. He operates scheduled domestic passenger services. Its main base was Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport. The airline was established in 2002 and started operations in March 2002 and ceased operations in 2013. Kabiru Rabiu, our younger brother, currently serves as the Group Executive Director of Bois Group. In 2020, Kabiru was named the Best African Economic Leader under the age of 40 in the 100 African Economic Leaders for Tomorrow Awards by the French Institute, Chausseo. Bois invested $300 million in the 20,000 hectares Lafiaji Sugar Estate project, which comprises a sugar mill, sugar refinery, ethanol processing plant, and 35 megawatts power plant. The company also built an export-focused refinery in Port Harcourt, the only destination sugar refinery in sub-Saharan Africa. Abdul Samad Rabiu is constructing a 200,000 barrels per day petrochemicals refinery in Akwa Ibom State, Nigeria. The agreement was signed with Access of France in August 2020, with a refinery aimed at serving Nigeria and the West Africa's petroleum refining needs. It is expected to be completed and operational by 2025. The privately owned Ogu-Ogbela Cement Company was in January 2020 merged with the publicly listed Cement Company of Northern Nigeria, where Abdul Samad Rabiu already held a controlling stake in the $3.3 billion transaction, and BUA Cement PLC was born. Abdul Samad consolidated all his food businesses in sugar, edible oils, rice, flour, and pasta milling into a new company, BUA Foods PLC. In December 2021, it was listed on the Nigerian exchange. BUA Foods emerged as a consumer goods leader in market capitalization, experiencing a phenomenal 206% year-to-date appreciation. Share prices soared from 65 naira per share in December 2022 to the current value of 379.9 naira per share as at 24th March 2024. In terms of fundamentals, BUA Foods exhibited robust financials with a 54% increase in profits to 105.6 billion naira in the first 9 months of 2023. Revenue witnessed an impressive 80.95% year-on-year growth, reaching 524.428 billion naira, and return on average equity stood at 43.42%. Despite challenges, Rabiu strategically increased his direct shares in BUA Cement by 56.37%, totaling 96.12% ownership. This move, executed on June 26, 2023, demonstrates Rabiu's confidence in his company's future growth. BUA Foods PLC and BUA Cement PLC companies are among the top 10 most valuable publicly listed companies in sub-Saharan Africa. From a relatively small company in 1988, BUA Group has grown to a world-class conglomerate, contributing significantly to the country's GDP, while providing employment opportunities for tens of thousands of Nigerians. Abdul Samad Rabiu's philanthropy is silently second to none. He founded the Abdul Samad Africa Initiative, ASR Africa, an African-focused fund for social development and renewal which seeks to support Nigeria and other African countries in the area of health, education, and social development. In October 2022, Abdul Samad Rabiu, through ASR Africa, donated $500,000 to the United States Agency for International Development, partner on tuberculosis control, HIV, and gender-based violence prevention efforts in Nigeria. Development of a 7.5 billion naira 200-bed specialist hospital in Kano State during the global COVID-19 pandemic. Abdul Samad Rabiu championed Nigeria's donation to this COVID-19 intervention by a single individual or corporate donating, amongst other things, 1.35 billion naira to the COVID private sector coalition, 300 million naira to the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19, over 1 billion naira in cash donations to 10 state governments across the country, 70 ambulances, medical equipment, face masks, provision of foodstuffs for over 1.5 million persons in Kano, Lagos, and River States. ASR Africa Initiative donated a 4 billion naira police hospital in Abuja and donated 1 billion naira each for 6 universities across Nigeria through the ASR Africa Tertiary Education Grants Scheme for infrastructural development. The beneficiaries of the 6 billion naira tertiary education grant schemes are Ahmadu Bello University, University of Ibadan, University of Maiduguri, Nnamdi Azikiwe University, University of Ilorin, and the University of Benin. ASR Africa Initiative also donated 2.5 billion naira each through its tertiary healthcare development grants for health projects across 4 geopolitical zones in the country. These are in addition to 5 billion naira donated to build the first teaching hospital in Akwa Ibom State, donated 10 billion naira to the Security Support Fund of the Nigerian government. Abdul Samad Rabiu was awarded the 2022 CEO of the Year at the African CSR Awards, 2016 African Industrialist of the Year Awards by the All African Business Leader Awards, the 2022 Sun Man of the Year Awards, 2020 Vanguard Business Person of the Year, and the New Telegraph Philanthropist of the Year 2021, a recipient of several honorary doctorate degrees from various universities, including the University of Benin, Nasarawa State University, Sokoto State University, and Crescent University. Abdul Samad Rabiu is a fellow of the Institute of Directors, and he currently holds the prestigious Nigerian National Honors, Commander of the Order of the Federal Republic, CFR, Commander of the Order of Niger, CON, as well as the highest civilian national honor in Niger Republic. Abdul Samad Rabiu is married with children. His children are Mustafa Khadija Kuki Rabiu, Ishaku Khalifa Rabiu, Junad Rabiu. On the 22nd of January 2024, Forbes estimated Rabiu's wealth at $5.9 billion, putting him as the 6th wealthiest man in Africa and 508th in the Global Billionaires Club. The family man, the silent achiever, the giver, Abdul Samad Rabiu.
In Africa, and there's one man who has consistently been a household name and index of reference in the business arena. The name Aliko Dangote apparently stands tall. The Africa's richest man clearly benchmarks success, wealth, and prosperity. His unofficial love and passion for business are quite phenomenal. These can be traced to his background. Born in April 10, 1957 to Maria Sanusi Dantata and Mohamed Dangote, his maternal ancestors were prosperous caravan traders under British colonial rule, and his grandfather, Alhaji Sanusi Dantata, was a commodity trader. Dangote's grandfather was heavily involved in his upbringing and helped ignite his entrepreneurial spirit. For Dangote, one would ever assume his wealth was handed out or easily channeled, being an offspring of Dantata, or his success didn't come through daydreaming. Dangote complemented inherited fortune with deliberate hard work and innovation to pave his way to the top. Those who knew Dangote while growing up would not be surprised at his outstanding success. At age 8, Dangote uses pocket money to buy sweets, which he and others sell for a profit. Everything big in life starts from little. Taking a clue from this, Dangote, from a seed loan of 500,000 obtained from his uncle, started business, which he traded commodities and business supplies, primarily cement. By 1981, his firm was successful that he had incorporated other businesses and established the Dangote Group. His empire extended to foodstuffs, including sugar, salt, wheat, cement, haulage, and other business concerns. Among his holdings were Dangote Industries, Dangote Bale Nigeria, Dangote Cement PLC, Benue Cement Company PLC, Dangote Sugar Refinery PLC, Dangote Flour Mills, and Nascent Ally Industries PLC. In addition to his holdings in Nigeria, the Dangote Group has operations in several African countries. With these giant strides in the business arena, Dangote will forever be grateful to his grandfather for giving him wings to fly. According to Forbes, an American business magazine, Dangote remains the richest man in Africa with an estimated fortune of $13.9 billion. Dangote is one Nigeria, highly decorated with honors as well. His human service and huge investment also got him both local and international recognitions, like the Guardian Man of the Year in 2015. He won the 2016 African Business Leader Award organized by the African American Institute. Dangote was cited as one of the top most influential Africans by the New African magazine in 2015, 2017, 2018, and 2019. He was recently conferred with the prestigious award of the National Order of the Lion by the President of Senegal. When it comes to breaking jinx, Dangote has it in full measures. He took his pioneering and jinx-breaking adventure to another dimension with the unveiling of the $20 billion refinery, widely adjudged as the largest single-train petrochemical refinery in the world. The refinery has the total capacity of 650,000 barrels of crude oil per day and is expected to earn as much as $21 billion in annual income. Situated on 2,500 hectares site at the Lekki Free Trade Zone, Lagos, it is supplied with crude oil by the largest subsea pipeline infrastructure in the world. When fully in operation, the refinery will provide 135,000 permanent jobs in the region. When it comes to family life, Dangote seems to, however, prefer maintaining a low profile. He got married to Zainab in 1977 but divorced at an unknown date. He was later married to Maria Mohammed Rufai. Dangote has 3 daughters named Halima, Maria, Fatima, and he also adopted a son named Abdurrahman. Dangote is one grounded authority that combines real intelligence with self-effacing demeanor, a persona that naturally makes kindness. Like an eagle, Dangote's foresight and unusual business acumen make him a rare to come by. Though he owns chains of business in Nigeria and across Africa, the quest by this uncommon risk taker to conquer more business territories may not wane anytime soon.
Hello, Lagos. Make we yarn.
Hello, boy, this POS matter don't pass your call. This go swipe, alert no enter. Before you know it, jump.
Wait, wetin really happen?
Maybe you fake alert the warriors.
Okay, so Mona, listen, if you dey do POS business, no expose your alert.
Hello, Ogbuefi. They don't walk Daba Road where they warrior for our local government for years.
This one sweet me, I no lie you. Because you know what, development with the work, it deserve loudspeaker. Now why we dey here be that? For here, we know the abuse, we dey bring solution. My name, it is Ikechukwu Uyemike, aka Ogbuefi Ishegwari.
Make we yarn every weekday from 10 a.m. go to 12 o'clock on Top the Eye 95.9 FM.
In the heart of Africa's growing hospitality landscape, where service and professionalism go hand in hand, the Hotel Managers Conference Africa 2025 unfolded in grand style. Held on the 28th and 29th of June at the Lagos Continental Hotel, the two-day gathering welcomed top hospitality professionals, experts, students, and stakeholders from across the continent. Hosted by Sunday Olubenga Omotayo, the conference was a celebration of growth, excellence, and the power of local talent.
Welcome to Lagos. Welcome to Africa. Welcome to the future of hospitality. In this room is the strong and brilliance of Africa's hospitality industry. Professionals who have turned challenges into success, created unforgettable guest experiences, and driven measurable growth. You are not here by chance. You are here because you recognize that the hospitality landscape is evolving faster than ever. What worked 5 years ago may be obsolete today. But those in this room don't just keep up with change. You lead. Talk to someone, you lead. This is more than a conference. It's a movement. A movement to raise the standard of African hospitality. first professor of hotel management and tourism is here, Professor SOUQ walked up to him and said, I asked him hard questions. Dr. Belinda is here, knows he's a big name when it comes to hospitality in the world. He's a global player. Hacks hard questions. Build connections. Make at least 10 friends, not hold one, not new friends, no different ones behind this room, behind this room. Welcome to Hotel Managers Conference Africa 2025.
Adding to the event's impact was the presence of Femi Wash Limited, whose media subsidiary, SOUQ News Television, served as the official media partner, offering live coverage, red carpet interviews, and podcast sessions that amplified the voices and stories shaping the industry. One of the event's high points was a series of insightful keynote sessions that tackled key challenges and emerging trends in hotel management. Professor Wasiu Babalola, SVP Africa at Content Worldwide Hotels, Turkey, and Academia with Atiba University, Oyo State, Nigeria, shared a thought-provoking address. Ahmed Raza, District Director, Nigeria, Radisson Hotel Group, shared insight on hospitality in Africa, driving excellence through local talent, highlighting the importance of investing in indigenous professionals for long-term growth. Dr. Belinda Nwosu, FIH of Lagos Business School, also gave a powerful talk on the future of hospitality, integrating global standards to drive excellence. Other speakers included Dr. Michael Pinda, General Manager of JS Signature Hotel, and Dr. Iyaduni Badebo, Director of Sales and Marketing at Eco Hotels and Suites, who contributed to discussions on hospitality development across the continent.
It's a pleasure to be here. Every one of you in this room, you are a gift. Thank you for the work that you do. A round of applause for yourself. Thinking about how long I've been in the industry, since 1998. Some of you were not born. And this is just an honor to be here and to see how far this industry has come over the years, over the decades. I'm going to talk about the future of hospitality. The future is already here, like Brenda has told us. But what are we going to do on our own part to be part of that future? Global standards to deliver excellence. These global standards, we need to understand what they are and how they impact us as people and managers. So the first question I want to ask, and I want a response: if your hotel fails, who's to be fired first? I've had some very powerful insights that I want to share with you, because at the end of the day, yes, we want to be global, but we need to look within as well. What is it that needs to change? So some of these insights were here. There's 5 nuggets. One is leadership development. We're going to talk about that. Networks and sponsors. Global currency, very, very important. Personal integrity. The fact that I put it forth doesn't mean it's not the most important. And finally, human flourishing. I will speak about that.
The event has been very good. It's growing every year. is becoming dynamic and the one place you have to come to every year to see what's going on, to network, and to help yourselves in your careers. We need to look at the future of our industry, and sustainability is important.
This event is, I would cap it as a storytelling of Nigerian hospitality. Started with various events in different parts of the country, and now it has now metamorphosed into Hotel Managers Conference Africa. So we're here to tell the story of the African hospitality sector. It's been an awesome experience. Sincerely, from yesterday, we had the keynote speaker, Dr. Belinda from Lagos Business School, and she spoke quite a lot, and what actually still triggers in me is team strength and individual strength. And then today we now had Dr. Duni, who from Eco Hotel, Director of Sales and Marketing, and she spoke about storytelling.
My first time was last year, and this is my second time of attending HMC, and I can tell you for free, it's been very insightful. I want a situation whereby the hospitality industry will not be a dump of where anybody can just venture into. I want it to be a place where people that know their onions dive into the system.
Coming here today, I discovered that there is a whole lot to learn, and I've been learning. But what has really amazed me is the fact that Mr. Benga has been able to put this together and to ensure that there is no competition amongst hoteliers, but a synergy, and for people to work together to see that the hospitality business in Nigeria and in Africa is projected to the outside world.
Being here, I think it's a wonderful thing. Hopefully we can expand it to other African countries and just unitedly just bring Africa up.
We're not just here tonight.
Okay.
We are actually the head sponsor.
Nice.
So we didn't just come in first. It was a big one, so we just had to take the bull by the horn.
You want to do this again and again?
Yes, most definitely. HMC has come to stay already, and HMC is actually a big one. So, yeah, why not?
The event also marked a significant milestone for students of the Hotel Managers School, who received certificates after completing their training, symbolizing a new generation of skilled professionals ready to shape the industry.
The event has been a very impactful event. It has been a very knowledgeable event. It has been an event that we need to even have it for a week long, to carry on for 1 week, because it has been an event that a lot of things have been taught here, especially when I listened to the presentation of the keynote speaker, somebody like Dr. Belinda. Dr. Belinda talked so much about the hospitality, and she shed more light of some things that we have been neglecting without knowing that that's what has been. So this event has been so much impactful, and we listened to Dr. Panda speak, and it has been so much impactful, and all the speakers for this event, they have shared knowledge.
The 7th edition of Hotel Managers Conference has been remarkable. It's been educating, informative, and transformative. And it's just been a wow. And a big shout out to the organizer, the convener, Mr. Lubenga Sunday Ombatayo, the veteran consultant.
This is my second time in this event, and I am very, very happy to be here, because here it's an avenue to express and get more experience, especially in the hospitality industry. We believe in growth, and I want to see the hospitality growing from this level to the next level.
So we are here to learn, to relearn, and to unlearn. We've been into hospitality for years, so we know things have been evolving, things have been changing, so we are here to learn, to relearn, and to unlearn.
Why we are both here is because hospitality is a very vast industry. So we see it as something that can improve us on what we are doing on our business, how to relate with people, then to network with the employers of labor, I mean the owners of the hotels, because we give them more work and we do businesses with them. And sincerely, at the conference, I've learned a lot. We've learned a lot, because when we got home, we always do briefing on it. So after the briefing, I saw so many things, and even up till now, we're still learning on it.
Okay, so this is my first time at the conference, and it was honestly a great experience. I am enthusiastic about the numbers. I'm happy about the number of people that want to actually get trained in hospitality, as it's a problem that's actually plaguing the industry. We need to invest more in training, and we need to ensure that people that can't even afford this training have the funding they need to access it.
Rounding up the conference were photo sessions and award presentations, recognizing exceptional individuals and organizations for their contributions to hospitality. The night concluded with a vibrant gala evening where guests, graduates, and industry leaders gathered to celebrate, connect, and look ahead to a more collaborative and innovative future for hospitality in Africa. Grace Komolafe, SOUQ News TV.
Under the bay, oh, 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 under the baobab tree, where shadows bend, the earth whispers tales.
Human rights are a fundamental and universal entitlement belonging to every person by birth, designed to ensure dignity, freedom, and equality regardless of race, nationality, or status. These inalienable rights form the very core of global governance. International human rights law, founded upon the Charter of the United Nations and the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, UDH, UDHR of 1948 establishes the binding obligation of government to protect these freedoms. A key success of this universal framework has been the continuous expansion of its legal body to protect vulnerable groups, including women, children, and persons with disabilities. This universal commitment forms the basis of this year's International Human Rights Day theme, Our Everyday Essentials, which seeks to reaffirm these principles not as abstract concepts, but as the practical foundation people rely on daily. Despite the strength of this legal foundation, challenges in implementation and new complexity result in an uneven global landscape. Millions are facing a critical lack of access to basic needs such as food, water, health, education due to persistent poverty and entrenched inequality. Recent World Bank estimates indicate that approximately 817 million people are currently facing extreme poverty, underscoring the severity of this implementation gap. Rapid advances in technology and digitalization also present novel hurdles concerning surveillance and privacy. Digital access, essential for modern civic participation, saw significant disruption in 2024 with 296 instances of internet service disruption, highlighting the growing threat to digital rights. This challenge is compounded by weak governance and the widespread persistence of armed conflict. These elements undermine fundamental rights by fueling instability and violence, often perpetuated by a lack of accountability for violations. The devastating impact on civilian life remains profound. The United Nations recorded a sharp 72% surge in the loss of civilian life in conflict zones in 2023, coupled with a record high of over 120 million forcibly displaced persons by the end of 2024. The human rights framework faces compounding issues such as climate change, which threatens the rights to life and health through environmental degradation. This has created a hazardous environment for advocates, with environmental human rights defenders facing substantial risk to their personal safety. Navigating a fair and constructive way forward requires key action across key primary fronts. Strengthening social safety nets through the establishment of universal social protection floors is vital to close the inequality gap and safeguard essential economic rights. Enhancing accountability is paramount. The international community must increase support for mechanisms that investigate and prosecute serious violations of humanitarian law, thereby countering impunity and restoring the rule of law. Also, the protection of civic space must be prioritized by regulating the digital sphere to ensure strong privacy rights and by enacting specific legal safeguards that protect activists, journalists, and human rights defenders from attacks, allowing them to perform their essential work without fear. Ultimately, ensuring human rights remain an ongoing commitment that demands measurable action over rhetorical assurance. By reinforcing the UDHR's principles through strategic investment in social protection, accountability, and the safeguarding of civic and digital freedoms, the global community can successfully transition these values from legal ideals into the everyday essentials that defines a life of dignity, freedom, and equality for all people. Praise Matthias, SOUQ News TV.
My name is Ali Young. I'm with the Gamehers, which is a social media tech platform for women in video games. And we're here in Nigeria today. Glad to be here. People are just absolutely lovely. The food is fantastic, and looking forward to getting out of the hotel and conference and seeing much more. I mean, for me, I'm a gamer. I met my husband playing video games 20 years ago, and it actually is something that has been part of my lifestyle. Family time is spent with my daughter and my husband playing video games. We've met online friends in person, gone on vacations with them. They were part of our wedding. It's really been just an amazing connection point and social point for us. And so when I had the opportunity to work with the Gamehers, it really became home to me, right? Because it's with people who are very like-minded and an amazing community. Yes, so the Gamehers, social media tech platform for women in the video game industry, creators, game devs, entrepreneurs. And for us, we are a safe space where people can connect. Something that you and I spoke about earlier around, playing video games and feeling the pressure to be good at it and wanting to, and kind of the toxicity around the online culture a little bit, because it is a little bit male-dominated, right? And I feel like the Gamehers was built around that. In fact, I remember the very first gaming conference that I went to, and literally it was a room that had about 200 people, and there were 3 women, including myself. And I thought, we have to do better, right? I mean, I play video games. I have friends that play video games who are women, and I feel like it's extremely important for us to spread that message that it is okay to play video games as a female. Additionally, Gen A, Gen Z, 98% of the younger generations are playing video games now, right? They don't identify as gamers like people who go to movies don't identify as movieists, right? And so it's just a part of their life. And what's interesting is that even though there are 3.2 billion gamers globally, and half of those are women, we're still underrepresented in the professional esports world, in game development, and leadership positions. So it was New Year's Eve, and I had busted my knee. I was living in Colorado. I busted my knee skiing. And so there I was at home for the very first time doing nothing on New Year's Eve. And I thought to myself, maybe I'll go check out this game, right? And so I jumped on this video game and had my knee propped up, having a drink and just relaxing. And I see online a chat that there was this giveaway for an online New Year's Eve party. And I thought to myself, this is the lamest thing I have ever seen in my life. I will never share this story out loud. And I went to this online New Year's Eve party where they were giving away free stuff and in-game free stuff, right? And so I'm in there, and it was player versus player games, so people could attack each other and kill each other in the game. And so as I was standing there, this guy jumped this other guy, slayed him in the game, and the dead player dropped gear, and you could rename it. And so this guy picks up the gear like a serial killer, brands it so-and-so's Baldric, and I thought it was hilarious, and that was my husband, now husband. So he's not a serial killer though, so that's good. I'll share this with you. So the Gamehers, since its inception in 2020, we created a platform where we celebrate women through the Gamehers Awards. And we had our first, it had been virtual through COVID, and we had our first live Gamehers Awards in Atlanta in March 1 to kick off Women's History Month. And we had a room full of 300 people, women and their allies, where we celebrated their contributions to other women in gaming and inclusivity. And it was incredible to just see people who haven't met in person. I mean, if you think about how you work with people now and remote life is so prevalent. I mean, you think about how you meet people online now anyway, right? And then when you meet them in person, that relationship just escalates and just gets even better. And so the Gamehers provides that space to be able to do that, right? We have an online community. We provide opportunities to meet in person through a lot of different events. Much like Dunhill Ventures brings together, they bring together family offices and investors to connect and create networks and create relationships. That's what the Gamehers does. Video games has become the new media. I mean, when you look at live streaming, you look at content creation, there's such a big piece of that's entertainment. And as a person who plays video games, you get to do both, right? I mean, if you go to a restaurant now or a bar, you see concepts where there's axe throwing, there's things you can do, play golf, right? Like the video gaming is just a lifestyle piece of that. I think that it's just become normalized. I mean, my daughter's generation, she's 17. She's been playing video games since she was 2. Right, and whether that's learning video games and educational video games, or it's Call of Duty. I mean, she plays them all, and she tries them. A lot of times, it's her friend group. Her friends like to play video games as well, and so they do that together. Sometimes in person, with their computers next to each other, or on consoles, and sometimes that's just online. So I think we all play games. I mean, if you played soccer when you were younger, or football, right? If you played basketball or sports, we compete all the time, right? Leaderboards, points, things like that. I mean, everything is a game. And so I think that the Gamehers provides a place where women who play video games can connect. And that's the beauty of it. So I was actually in Riyadh when I met the Dunhill Ventures group, and they invited us to come out to Lagos. It was an opportunity. I was supposed to be at South by Southwest this week, and ended up canceling all my travel plans. Told the team, I was like, I am gonna stay in Riyadh for a couple of days and then go straight to Lagos. Because the opportunity here is vast. The demographics in this region and in Africa has the youngest, the youngest demographics. Gen A, Gen Z's, 98% are gamers, and so the population is intrinsically part of our group. However, organically, our 10% of our international community is in Nigeria. And that has just been organic. We haven't done any programming here. We haven't done any events. It's just people finding us online and connecting with our team, with our community. So we we are the Gamehers. That's TheGamehers on all socials and thegamehers.com. Please download our app. It's tgh.app, and it can be downloaded on Apple, Google, and we're also on desktop as well. And connect with us. Our community, surprisingly, well, not surprisingly, is very inclusive. While we focus on women and we are femme-based, we do have non-binaries and femme-identifying peoples, and also our allies who are men and male. So you stand to gain an amazing community of like-minded people, find your tribe, find people to play games with, find people to learn from, as well as opportunities for education, on career development, and entrepreneurship. Absolutely. So we partner with a lot of game developers. We are not a game developer, but we provide opportunities for women in game development, as well as Riot Games is one of our early investors and a big partner. Also, I play a lot of their games too. It's a big perk to get in the alpha stages and get to try out different games. But we have opportunities for women to even, our Discord channel, for example, has game nights, right? Where women get to try out different games, whether that's a mobile game or even a party game from Jackbox Games. You know, there are different things that we use to connect and leverage through video games. I see there's a lot of there had been. I feel like it's starting to shift the other way. There had been, you hear stories about gamers who play too much, and I think I read a story about someone who played too long and died of seizures. I mean, that's probably the extreme, right? And let's be transparent and talk about it, because I think that as a parent myself, balance is everything. But however, in order to get good at anything, I mean, you have to spend the 10,000 hours, right? And so I actually told my daughter that I wanted her to play at least 2 hours a day because, I mean, to me, if you're actually going to get good, then why would you limit yourself, right? But you have to do it in a healthy manner. You have to take breaks, you have to stretch, you have to eat, you have to do all these things and keep your health going. I mean, just like in any sport. Gaming has been shown to teach our children and to teach ourselves mental acuity, hand-eye coordination, problem solving, which I feel doesn't happen enough. But gamers have to learn how to lose, which is also something that doesn't happen enough. And also the grit to keep going, right? And so I think there are a lot of very good benefits to gaming, just as well as negative things, just as well as anything else. We are very focused this year on our international growth, and this is part of it. If you're connecting with us, join our community, get to know the people and connect with the people first, and then find affinities to the different games that you want to play. There's so many different kinds of games. There's a game for everyone.
Well, I would say now he's gotten the job. If this question had come before now, I would be able to say that I do not think we need him. But he's there now, so all we need to do is see what best he can do or what best we can do to support him to succeed. Now, going by his previous records, going by all that he's achieved in sports, ordinarily one wouldn't have said he's the best for the Super Eagles at this time. But here we are. Decision makers have made their decisions. They've taken the decisions. We can only talk, but they already have their way. Well, I think his assessment will start when he starts playing games. He's not had any game with Nigeria, so we can't assess him. But going by his previous records, I don't think he would have been the best for Nigeria at this time. Not against other homegrown indigenous coaches who have had better records within and outside Nigeria. On a scale of 1 to 10, I don't think Shele will fit in at any point. But of course, having him been appointed, all we need to do is give support and see the best that we can get from him being Nigerians. And of course, at all times, irrespective of whatever decisions are taken, we want Nigeria to excel. Because in Nigeria's excellence, we are proud. In Nigeria's excellence, those of us that are in the media and sporting media, to be precise, we can do business. If Nigeria is not winning, the biggest brand for Nigeria is the Super Eagles, sports-wise. So if Nigeria is not winning, if Nigeria is not making waves, then we don't have business to do. So it's in our interest that he succeeds. So to that extent, I would say yes. But looking at his appointment, I think it's just a part of the over-politicization of the sporting industry, power show by the immediate past president of the Football Federation, Melvin Pinnick Amaju. Having failed in his 2 terms, continues to transverse the terrain to show he still has power. And of course, he brought Shele. And of course, Gusau, the incumbent president of the Football Federation, has to listen to his master. So his master's voice, that's what we're experiencing. If they like, let them bring the Hirusadi. You see, there are things about Nigeria and Nigerian sports that should not surprise anybody. Politics are played everywhere, and balancing of acts are played everywhere. Federal character everywhere. And the federal character thing is just all very pretentious things they do. Definitely not for the interest of Nigeria. Just to show that, okay, we've taken somebody from the south, or we've taken one from the west, or we are now taking from the north. Who will we take in the north? Let's bring Ahmed Musa. He's calm. He'll be able to talk to the players. What is he going to say to the players? He's past his prime a long time ago. So it's all politics and not in the interest of the nation. I can tell you that. But for Chele going around Europe, yes, he has to, because everywhere you go, to be the chief coach of the Nigerian national team, senior national team, can be a huge task, because every day you have Nigerian boys showing up in big leagues, in small clubs, in championship clubs, even around the country. You find players everywhere. Nigeria, I think today, if we are not exporting oil, I think we are exporting footballers to everywhere, even those that are born abroad. I mean, you can imagine this young boy at Arsenal, 17, Ethnan Waneri, and there's Anokoli, there's Ndidi, both at Leicester City. So everywhere you go, you see Nigerian boys showing stuff. So to be the coach of a Nigerian team at the level of Super Eagles is a huge task. One would expect that we should have a scouting department. One would expect that we have a department that should take charge of team psychology. We expect that we have the technical department or the directorate for technical at the Football Federation to be well equipped with people that are sound in mind, sound technically, and have capacity to work and deliver. With all of that put together, then they should be able to advise and situate the coach at the point where he can deliver and work well. Well, you see, I said yes, because I've been one of those that have always been clamoring that there's need have a National Sports Commission. Now, having a National Sports Commission that is populated or that is headed by politicians, it's neither here nor there. It may not take us anywhere. We need to separate our sport. Yes, sports you cannot do away with politics at some level. But in terms of the administration, in terms of the management, in terms of the execution, there's need to be able to separate sports and politics. In the days where we held sway in sports, where the National Sports Commission functioned effectively, all of those that occupied the position as Director General, as directors in the then National Sports Commission, were professionals. If you recall from the days of Abraham Odia, Awotro Eleya, and of course Isaac Akioye, that laid the structure and foundation for a proper National Sports Commission just after the All-Africa Games, was a thoroughbred professional from the University of Ife. And there are other such professionals all around this country. And you need to ask, if we are not able to seek and give these people jobs and give them tasks to deliver, we always will go look for political loyalists to put in positions so that they answer to us. Politics is just, to me these days, it's more like a window for public relations for political parties and individuals that are into politics to express themselves, or maybe also at the same time also reward loyalists. That's what we find. So in terms of the technicalities on administration and management of sports, in its true sense, we're still very far from it. Plenty improvement, I would say. The current managers of the league are doing everything they can to ensure that our league gets back to a competitive level at the continent, gets back to a competitive level at the rate at which we, those of us local people like myself, can appreciate our football and our footballers once again. The question to ask is to say, are we doing enough? The answer will be no. Who are those not doing enough? The media, the sporting media in Nigeria is not doing well enough. Would I say sporting media? Yes. And also the bigger media is not doing well enough. And because we are not doing well enough, that's why our league is still where it is. We would have gone further than this. The other aspect of it is government. Government across the states. Football business is supposed to be good business. Football business is supposed to be run by private individuals and clubs. There's nothing wrong to say that the people of a particular state cannot run a football club in conjunction with other private individuals who will be stakeholders and are interested in the promotion of sport and football in the sense that we're talking about it now. But what we have is that we have state governments owning football teams, and those that are administering the football teams are SA this, SA that have been appointed as a reward, that have been appointed because they are loyal, that have been appointed because they can talk a little bit about foreign leagues. Somebody can talk about the league, talk about the La Liga and the EPL, and that qualifies him to be SA in charge of sports in some states of the federation. And these are the bunch of persons, or the group of persons, who are running our football around the country. So, who runs the clubs, the texture of the clubs, what names the clubs are bearing, what history behind the clubs, and those are the things that tells you that the states are not doing enough, the Football Federation not doing enough, but I think largely the media, check out our sports programs. All you find are talking heads talking about who scored the best goal in the world, who scored the best goal in Europe, who scored the best goal in England and all that. That's what we find. You hardly will see shows, package shows about the best goals of the Nigerian League over the past weekend. The best goals, the best dribbles, how many passes, proper statistics, because the media is not doing enough. The sporting media, that is journalists, that are practitioners, they are not doing enough because they are not tasking themselves. They just go on the internet, download one or two things, watch and everything. All you know is you take it as a content creator in sports. You need to just take a shot of the goal that the assist that Nwaneri gave, or Merino scored a goal for Arsenal, and you superimpose yourself and you talk over it, and that's content. And you post it, and there are likes and there are followers, and that's it. What we do, but you do not have individuals going to places to take content. All around Lagos, that's we look at as we are now, all around Nigeria, sports is going on every day. As a practitioner myself, in those days when I used to be the street reporter, we covered football from everywhere. From Abeson, from Bagada, from Volkswagen, down on Ojo, Abeta, anywhere. All of those places, and boys are still playing football. You go to Evans Square, boys are still playing football. Go to Lafayette, they're still playing football. Go to Alakoro, you still see boxing. So all of these sports are still going on. But where are the journalists that will cover these events and bring them to the fore and package them? The journalists are not ready to do that job. Even those that are ready are not funded. Even those that work are not paid salaries. So everybody is just finding the easy way out, cutting corners and doing their best. Now for our league and our sports to grow, there has to be heavy investment in the media. Because everything you see about the EPL, the La Liga, you take the EPL and analyze it, you see a variety of shows all about the weekend games, the weekend wrap, the best goals, the best flops, the referee angle, even the advertising and marketing. Because when all of this are put in a fray, then people can relate to it. People can leverage on it. Brands can come and give sponsorship. But we are not able to attract sponsorship because there's nothing for the brands to take away. Because if you give brands value, they will attach to it. And it never used to be so. Before 2006, the La Liga was not popular. The EPL was not popular. The Champions League was not popular. What were Nigerians watching? Because the media itself sold out. By investing, Nigerian media organizations came together, put money together, and went to buy rights of the EPL and started broadcasting it on Nigerian television for the consumption of Nigerians so they can make cheap money. From telcos and from the brewing industry, they made more money for themselves. I mean, the media houses, rather than invest in the local league. Then they will tell them, who will watch Nigerian league? I mean, those are the questions they asked at the time. Some of us that were able to find courage, we found courage and we asked them, why would we be doing this? But of course, we were not many enough for our voices to be heard. And that's why we're here. We are where we are. So it's not far when we lost it. Can we redeem ourselves? Yes, we can. If we want to. But it will take a whole lot of courage. It will take a whole lot of work. It will take a whole lot of commitment. God help us.
Hello, Lagos. Make we yarn.
Hello, boy, if this POS matter, don't pass your call. This go swipe, alert no enter. Before you know it, jump.
Wait, wetin really happen?
Nigga, you fake alert the warriors.
Okay, so wanna listen to If you dey do POS business, not expose your alert.
Hello, Ogbefi. They don't walk that bar road where they worry for our local government for years.
This one sweet me, I no lie you. Because you know what? Development with the work, it deserve loudspeaker. Now why we dey here be that? For here, we know the abuse, we dey bring solution. My name, it is Ikechukwu Oyemike, aka Ogbefi Ishegwari.
Make we yarn every weekday from 10 a.m. go to 12 o'clock on Top the Eye 95.9 FM.
Hello Nigeria, hello Africa. Yeah, this is Sound Man. Keep watching SOUQ News.
My name is Babalola from Excel LED. Keep watching SOUQ News.
My name is Shepherd Michael Adewale Onofuye. I enjoy you all to always watch SOUQ News TV.
Hi, I'm Tom Bogaballs, and please keep watching SOUQ News.
Wale Seriki, SLG Lagos Island East, SOUQ News. Keep out watching them and keep a lookout for them. They're up and coming, and we're proudly to be affiliated with them.
You alone where they make me go crazy. This your love in the cool of my brain. You're my medicine, I need you all day. Yo, it's Blackface Nigeria, and you're watching SOUQ News TV. Keep it locked on this dial, don't change it. You know what I say? Blackface Nigeria, love no bad.
I was in Nigeria up until SS1 third term, SS2, and after that I moved to France where I did my A-levels, and then after that I moved to England where I did my undergrad, and then my master's I did in America. And European culture is European culture, right? For me, it's actually quite interesting because I learned so much more about Africa outside Africa, right? Because in the education I had in secondary school, there wasn't really much focus on our history or the greatness that Africa was. It almost seemed more like propaganda history, that our history pretty much just started slightly before colonization, and everything else we've become is either our journey to independence and carrying on the system that we're left with, right? Unfortunately, schooling abroad brought this Afrocentric idea into my consciousness. Books about researchers that showed our history that goes all the way back to ancient Egypt, Timbuktu, the great empire of Mali, learn about people like Mansa Musa, connecting migrations from what is present-day Nigeria in the southwest up until the Nile Valley, and the different movements, migration patterns that happened between those two civilizations, right? Aside that, governance, giving one a higher expectation of what one should expect from government, giving one a higher expectation of what democracy should be or what it should look like, because you can't really operate outside of what you've been exposed to. You know, when the mind has been expanded, it cannot go back to its former size, right? And experiencing what quality education is like, experiencing what good governance is like, experiencing a health system that works, a health system that is checking on people before they get sick, because they know that on the long run, that will keep the cost of healthcare coverage lower. Preventative medicine as opposed to constantly solving problems as they're happening. Understanding the value of data-driven policy, and how all these come together to create a system that works and that people can thrive in. Understanding the value of people paying taxes, right? And the services they get in return of those taxes. I think these are some of the things that I got from my exposure schooling abroad. And then when I moved back to Nigeria, I did my NYC, and then I started working. I worked in some architecture firms while also running mine and getting some projects, and then went into business. And then when I wanted to go into politics, after leading a GMO campaign alongside other notable patriotic Nigerians, I decided that, you know, experiencing leading a 2,000-man march on the Senate and understanding how they responded to us, which in my opinion did not show people that actually prioritize the well-being of their people, I felt that it's important to go into politics. Okay, so I ran for student council president in high school and won. So politics that way, yeah, you can say since I was 19, having an idea, having a manifesto and selling that idea, understanding problems and proffering solutions, and implementation strategies. Yeah, so I can say 18, 19. When I came back and after the GMO, for those that don't know, genetic modified foods, we led a 2-year campaign against the Ministry of Agriculture that was chaired at the time by Akumi Additional to prevent the adoption of genetic modified foods in Nigeria. And that process, engaging politicians and our representatives, I felt that Nigerians deserve better. And I'm not one to just complain and point fingers or tweet on social media. I believe if you engage in something, you need to see it all the way. So I ran for local government chairman. But before that, I actually went to UNILAG and got a master's in research and public policy. Now, I had some very brilliant professors, without a doubt, some very, very brilliant professors. People like Professor Jikutu, people like Professor Logbenla, Onoha, a number of very brilliant people. But at the same time, in relation to the level of organization, there's still a way to go, you know. And I think this also comes down to funding our universities properly, ensuring that our professors are well paid, ensuring that we have enough professors, because a lot of our professors, they are taking so many classes with so many students and they have to bring in their A game to all of these things. We need to prioritize education a lot more in this country, you know. Nigerians are some of the most brilliant human beings in this world. Brilliant, and I'm talking, I just named 3 different countries that have operated in terms of education. And then there are some other 4 countries that I've done work in and I currently have interest in. And Nigerians are there and they are doing wonderful things, right? So we're an intelligent group of people. What we need are the structures and organization that create an enabling environment for us to thrive. I mean, think about what it takes to be successful in this country today. Think about what it takes to be successful in Lagos. Now, imagine a government that puts everything in place and is more like a partner than, you know, this person that's just trying to take from me, right? You would experience an exponential increase in wealth. I think that a person that values education must have had a very good education. If you don't value education, it's a reflection of your own education. I can't think of somebody that's experienced good education that will not prioritize education, because you will know the power of education. And this goes to show when we talk about how it's okay for someone with a NEPA certificate to be our president, and we see the ruin that it brought Nigeria to, or a person that's using lawyers to hide his certificates, right? It will reflect in the quality of your education. So I feel that we need to start demanding more from people that aspire to lead us. Go and look at the quality of education that the leaders of America got. They either went to Yale or Harvard or recently Princeton, Ivy League schools. The top of us have to lead. This idea that you can just pick anybody to lead you to where? This person is like this with you. Where is he leading you to? What vision is this person bringing that is outstanding? Your leader should be outstanding. He cannot be, or she cannot be part of the flock. You understand? They must be outstanding, either in their strength of character. So you look at America when they want to select their president, George Washington. Why? Because when there was war, the man stood in front. He was a leader. Intelligence, he was a leader. These were people that were inventors. Benjamin Franklin. These were people that were inventing things. They were not just thought leaders. They were on ground. They were policy leaders. They were kings in their own right. It was not a commoner. And I don't mean commoner in the sense of money. You see, people think it's just about money. No, it's about what are your values? What are you willing to stand for? What do you stand for? Right? If the wind blows, you just move to the place that favors your pocket. You clearly don't have a backbone. So how can you lead? And people will say, okay, they just want somebody that they can associate with. Yes, but associate with in what way? In poverty and failure and mediocrity? on a success and a vision that will benefit you, your family, and your children, and the greater society, right? Because if you think about it, I say this thing in most interviews I do. My father tells me that his father told him that Nigeria was better in his day. My father told me Nigeria was better in his day. My father graduated, there were jobs, you could get car. Like, only the man had to work, the wife could be a housewife, and they were comfortable. They did not need to steal, to travel, to go on holiday. Right? He came into that. Quality education. There was public education. Right? His father was a judge. His father's driver would send his child to the same school as his boss's son. And they got quality education. Now, I can tell my children that I remember a time when Nigeria was better. When I would change 1 million naira and get 4,000 pounds. I can barely get 1 million naira now with 500 pounds. Do you understand? So it's perpetually in a nosedive. And why is that? Lack of continuity in quality leadership and visionary leadership, right? No leader that is truly focused on creating a Nigerian identity that celebrates our uniqueness and our differences and sees that as a resource as opposed to something that divides us, right? People that are traveling to the UAE, they are going there to enjoy the culture. And this culture is old, it's ancient, but they've repackaged it. That makes people want to come and visit, want to come and spend their hard-earned money there, right? And this is the visionary type of ideas I'm talking about that will create jobs, right? Well, you know, it's a very interesting one. I grew up in a Nigeria where I went to ISL, and speaking traditional languages was called, there's a word for it, starts with C, not vernacular, there was something else. There's another word, it starts with a C. You could not do that. It was against the school rules, right? And you get punished for that. And then even at the time, there was this whole idea of this person, this is local. Like young people, I remember young people saying that is local. The people were not interested with identifying with Nigerian music. Then it was hip hop, it was about Biggie, Puff Daddy, you know, international music. I'm sure I'm betraying my age now. Well, my age is not 80 now, 42. But I'm talking about the time where nobody was wearing trad. We grew up seeing our parents wearing suits, trousers and shirts, you know. And like I said, I don't feel that the education that we got in Nigeria really laid any foundation for you to look deeper into our history, into our culture. And I know this now because I've experienced education elsewhere. And I know how the British lay emphasis on their history. So that even if you're an art student or a science student, you had an in-depth knowledge of the history of your people. And this history is not just a linear one. It's one that is connecting different events and moments and always trying to show your people to be great, right? So you see the British will hide the idea of the part they played in slavery and enslavement. It will not be prominent in the history, but where they conquered or where they uprooted slavery from the African continent, the role they played in doing that will be highlighted, right? That is curated. Now you might say that's not right, it's not fair, but they're programming their citizenry. And that is what a thinking government will prioritize. Same thing with America, right? So I don't really feel we had that in our education system. But then there was an Afrocentric awakening that happened later on. And this had also happened earlier. The kind of thinking that informed people like Nnamdi Azikiwe when he traveled to America, the kind of thinking that informed Fela Anikulapo Kuti when he traveled to America, or even to England, where he met Afro-British people that knew the histories of Africa, that awoken that idea in him, in Fela, in Nnamdi Azikiwe, in a number of Africans, in Kwame Nkrumah, right? They didn't get it at home, they got it elsewhere, and they came and they brought that, we are African, we are great, black is beautiful, you know? And when you open that doorway, it then starts to lead you into understanding your culture more, understanding the depth of it, you see? And it's not our fault, right? We're conquered, our kings were removed, at least the kings that had the courage to fight, they were removed, they were exiled, some were killed, people were kidnapped with the collaboration of some Africans, who were kidnapped and sold. Some of the strongest men were kidnapped and sold. So you have diaspora cousins and everybody outside of the country, the few that were saved, you know, were brought back. But you now had a situation of religion. And unfortunately, the religion that came through in partnership with colonization pretty much said to us that everything that we were before them was bad, was evil, was demonic. So you have a people that claim that they are from a certain tribe, speak the language, but the depth of the thinking they associate with being evil. So there's still a significant level of identity crisis that we struggle with. And you don't really see that with Indians who were colonized by the British. You don't really see it with the Chinese who also dealt with their own level of colonization, nor the Japanese, right? And you see, understanding your identity or crafting your identity as a people, because China, as we're seeing it today, was not just monolithic. It was not just one group of people. There are huge, different groups of people all over China, different tribes, but they were united by a visionary king. Similar thing happened in Japan, right? Similar thing happened in England, right? In England, you had part in what you call England, or what was Great Britain or England at the point. You had the Welsh, you had the Scottish, you had the Irish, right? You know, and they were united at the point by a conqueror, right? So sometimes you also craft identity. Sometimes identity is created by facing a threat that is bigger than all of you independently. So you have to come together to face that. And sometimes it's just visionary leadership, right? You see visionary leadership in Singapore with Lee Kuan Yew. We saw that creates an identity that you can be proud of. Like there is no China man now, or even if there will be very few that will not be proud of China and not want to be associated with the bigger identity of China as opposed to their identity as a tribe, because China is so great and it pays you to be associated with it. It is when there's a failure in that bigger identity that people recoil back to their smaller identity, right? And that's what you find going on in a lot of places. But all in all, yeah. I think the government, you see, what has happened is because we've had governments or politicians that don't really have a vision to sell, they rely on selling division. Because the classic divide and rule strategy. If you have a vision, you want to sell a vision and unite people. Visions unite people, right? So you sell a vision, suppose unite behind the vision. When you don't have a vision, so you sell the vision so that people can be separated. When you separate people, it's easier to rule over them. And you see that has happened significantly from the last election, right? And you then see in how the government has ruled this country. Significant nepotism, significant levels of corruption, significant levels of lack of transparency or accountability. You see that the government is very extractive without really paying any attention to being accountable to the people they want to extract from. You see that they talk about stopping subsidy payments. And there was a hope that those monies that would have otherwise been used for subsidies would have been put to make life easier for the Nigerian. Life is not easier for the Nigerian. Inflation rates are at an all-time high, right? Insecurity is at an all-time high. For the first time in decades, we're having a foreign country bombing our land, our territory, which is an indictment on the failure of our security system. And you think about how much money is spent on these things, on our army, on our military, that goes unaccounted for. And you see how corruption is rewarded by ambassadorial appointments. So there's a lot of politicking as opposed to governance. And it is in quality governance, creating excellence in governance, where you are moving away from personalities to institutions. And people are now normalizing an excellent standard of service, right? So it's no more about the personalities, it's about the quality of governance. Once that starts to be ticked, right, people will start to embrace the idea of Nigeria. When Nigeria is playing football, nobody is saying that that man is from this tribe, this person is from this tribe, especially if we are doing well. Everybody wants to be associated with that greatness that is Nigeria. When I finished school, I'm telling you, I went to a school where you did not have to leave the school to get the best jobs. Those companies came to do interview on campus. And I'm saying that myself and all my friends that were Nigerian were rushing to move back to Nigeria. It's not that we did not have the jobs or the potential jobs. We were so excited about Nigeria at the time under President Obasanjo, what he had achieved, the quality of his governance, the quality of his ministers, that there was a significant fear of missing out. And so many people, and I tell this to young people today, that there was a time where people were rushing back from countries like America, from England, and they can't imagine it, So it's about creating good governance, creating excellence in governance. And everybody wants to be associated with success and greatness. There was a time where we had governments that were very empathetic to the common man. They were welfarist to an extent. Governments like Alhaji Lateef Jakonde. And that was really the ideology of Obafemi Awolowo. It was very welfarist. So civil servants did not have to hustle for housing. They had quality housing in prime areas. Affordable housing was a priority. It was prioritizing the people that were the middle class, that were the working class. That is the role of government. But you find that now government is more fixated on producing properties or being involved in properties for the rich. Whether it is how they are allocating land, whether it is in how they are sand filling. I mean, how many Nigerians can afford to live at Eko Atlantic? I read this year where they were proudly talking about how they are sand filling and reclaiming land in some parts of Lagos for housing. By the time you've done all of that, your unit cost will be so significant that no average person will be able to afford to live there. Meanwhile, we have huge tracts of land in Ojo, Amuwo, Badagry, Ikorodu, Ekpe, Ibeju, Lekki, that we can channel proper urban planning, bring in industries there, and focus on creating infrastructure that makes people want to live there.
And then creating local governments that are independent in themselves. So most of the major services you need are in there. So nobody's going from Ikeja to Yaba for school. These are things that cause traffic. It's like the boroughs in London. You cannot even get into a borough outside of where you pay your council tax. Why? Because your taxes are used to fund the schools in that community. So it's a direct correlation. So your child can get into schools in the immediate vicinity of where you live. And that local council is doing their best to create affordable housing, council flat, and unemployment benefits, things like that, from the taxes. You understand? And that's what is missing significantly here. You've talked about flooding. Flooding is tied to our drainage systems and it's tied to our waste disposal systems and waste management systems, right? That in itself is also tied to the traffic that we have, especially in rainy season. It's also tied to traffic outside of rainy season because if your water is not draining properly, it's destroying your roads. That's how we then get potholes. That also causes traffic. That also spoils cars, which then leads to cars breaking down the road, which then leads to traffic. So it's an entire holistic system that must be solved in a holistic way. And there's a famous saying that you can never solve a problem from the same headspace or mindset in which that problem was created. You must step out of it to solve that problem. So this problem must be solved in a holistic way. Why are our gutters still open? All these our elites, they're not even elite. Our politicians, our political leaders, they travel abroad. Shiba, our president, has gone to, I think he's gone somewhere to Europe and then the Middle East. I'm sure he's not seeing open gutters when he goes to Dubai, right? Or England or France, right? I'm sure he knows of the proper draining systems in these places, right? So we need to do better as a people. I even think it's wrong to use Lagos as a mirror. You cannot compare Lagos to any other state in this country. Lagos, first, was a water-facing arm for the Benin Empire at a point, which was very powerful at a point. It was, aside from the Awori and children of Olofin that came and settled it, the monarchy was from Benin. And it was a water-facing arm of the Benin Empire. Then Lagos then received all the influx of Europeans that came in for colonization. Lagos was the port in which Nigeria was formed. There was a time where all politics in Nigeria happened in Lagos. Everybody from all over came to Lagos. Think about the level of exposure. Think about the level of development from back then. Think about the level of commerce, level of finance from back then. Then you now had influx of returnees that had either paid for their freedom or people that were saved, that were never enslaved and got education in Sierra Leone because that was where the first secondary school was and came back. I'm talking about people like Samajai Crowder, grandfather of Herbert Macaulay, Henry Carr, H.O. Davis, and so many others that literally laid the foundation for the freedom and independence that we then got later on. Think about the intellectual capital that came in here. Think about all the skill sets that came into Lagos, the buildings that were built, the level of development, the amount of resource that came into Lagos with that. Then after that, Lagos then became this capital. Think about all the investments that came with that, all the infrastructure that was created by the Nigerian state before it now relocated to Abuja. And then today, Lagos is now the commercial capital. Most companies that exist in this country have their headquarters here. So it's extremely unfair to compare. Lagos State it's like that child that has been blessed and blessed and blessed. You know, it's like all the other children were on the farm and all the prophets were just coming and blessing and blessing and blessing. It's not fair to compare Lagos to any other state. It cannot be compared. But yes,
That's the one side of the coin. The other side of the coin is the extreme need for infrastructure, right? Which, I mean, we have huge IGR because of the human beings that are here. So those money should be put into creating infrastructure for them to have a beautiful quality of life, to be more productive, to be able to earn more, which would then increase the IGR that Lagos generates, right? You know, so it's all tied into each other. Well, first of all, it's not a thing that's unique to me. You know, the APC Lagos especially, the APC Lagos arm of politics is bigotry. Is based on bigotry. I mean, there's still pictures of banners that were hung of Jimmy Agbaje being called Jimmy Chukwu, governor of the Southeast. This is a man that is blue blood from Ikorodu. We know his grandfather. We know his antecedents. We know what he did. This is not somebody that his history or his pedigree or his name or his age or his sex is under question or under any kind of controversy. We know him. We know his grandfather. We know his father. We know his family. Right? And this is what they did. So anybody that seemingly rises to challenge the Tinubu hegemony, the first thing that is challenged is your Yorubaness. Right? I remember when they were saying that even somebody like Padi Banjo, the reason why he supported Peter Obi or was anti-Tinubu was because his mother was Igbo. Or they said Obasanjo's father is this. Anytime somebody challenges the Tinubu hegemony, they attack your identity. They try to strip you of your Yorubaness. In my situation, unfortunately for them, they could not challenge my family. They could not challenge our history. There are all sorts of nonsense. But I give God the glory that my parents are alive. You know, I give God the glory that my family has a very good habit of keeping records, all the way to newspaper articles from the 1800s. So imagine if one did not have that. Imagine if one's parents were not alive and these people just came together with this propaganda. You start questioning, what's really going on? But thank God, I come from a family that history has written a lot about. You know, so we know who we are. And as Lagosians, Amorawa, we know ourselves. Because one is in politics now, there are a lot more things that people are saying about me. But I've been Afrocentric for a very long time. All you need to do is go and read my blogs. I still have a blog under if you search for it, The Hopeful Nigerian. And I've been advocating for history to return back to our schools, our traditions, our culture. The idea that no, not everything that existed before the Rainbow Man came here was bad. Right? There's bad in everything. There are people that call themselves Muslims that are killing people. There are people that were calling themselves Christian that were doing crusades and massacring people. I mean, for goodness sake, the first slave ship that came to Africa was called Jesus. The Pope blessed people that were going to go and kill indigenous people all over the world. So there are good and bad people in every culture, in every belief system, right? And this idea that everything that we were before Christianity or any of the major religions means that we are bad. I've been against that for decades, right? And that's not common. That's not common in this part of the world. And I know the backlash that I got for that, but I'm somebody that fortunately I can afford to live my truth, you know? I can afford to do that. So what you saw is just me on my journey. A lot has been consistent. It's just now, it is obvious. People are seeing it, it's in people's faces. And I'm coming of age, I'm growing, you know? My first title was the Obalefon of Lagos that I got from the Obatala Temple in Ife, right? And that ties into my belief system that, you know, there is an African spiritual science, right? The entire binary code in which we build our computers is based on African traditional science, right? the understanding of time not being linear, but being circular and intertwining, right? These are things that quantum physics is proving, right? So you find that we have known things from time that science, Western science, is just interpreting and bringing to common knowledge now, right? And that is something that I will grow in. And as some will say, your head calls certain things to you. So that title is something that I embrace because, it's something that I've understood and it's something I value. It's very important to me. And then also I am the Are of Igbale Koka, which is the house that was headed by Justice Koka. He was the Olori Eyo at a point, and Baba Isale of Lagos. So those are the titles that I have, that I got recently. As relates to Yoruba titles, I also have an Igbo title, Ochiaga of Ndibo in Lagos State. Aside that, I was initiated into the Awe Adimu, and as a son of Lagos, these are things that we hold very dear to us. I mean, you've been around my house, I'm sure you've seen plenty of your paintings. And if you go into any indigenous house, most of them, you see something Eyo. It'll just be there, right? Either it's the Okpan Bata and the hat, or a sculpture, or something, because it symbolizes our heritage, our ancestral heritage, our ancestral culture. It's our day to show, who we are as a people, because Lagos, like I said, is a cosmopolitan port. So sometimes our identity gets lost, and there are always different groups that, it's almost like when you talk about the history of Lagos, it's somehow covered by the history of Nigeria, because so much of the history of Nigeria happened in Lagos. But we have our own history, very rich history, with a lot of intrigues, right? And your festival is for Lagos Island, a way of showing our uniqueness, our heritage, our culture. And that is not to say that it's only limited to Lagos Island. We have brothers that are coming Ikorodu, coming from Ekpe, coming from Badagry, and then all of these places also have their own rich culture and heritage. Like the Zangbeto Festival in Badagry is amazing. I cannot wait for it to be properly mainstream, for the government to actually bring it into mainstream culture. You also have the masquerades in Ekpe, in Ikorodu, masquerades all over the mainland, all that Ikejai, Fakojai area, they have that culture there as well. These things need to be mainstreamed. They need to be brought into and repackaged, right? The tradition itself, the masquerades, the pageantry is beautiful, it's perfect. It's now the environment at which it operates, right? We need to create the environment that will pull tourists in, make them feel safe, make them feel comfortable, clean environments, right? That can now create these things with world-renowned cultural experiences that people fly in because they want to come and see. Think about the Brazilian carnival, right? Things like that. We want people to fly in because this is how you generate income for those communities and, also puts us on that world map. 2025 was a very difficult year for a lot of people. 2024 was difficult because that was the first shock. But 2025 has not been easy at all. A lot of companies have laid off staff, right? Things are extremely expensive. Go and ask anybody that's about to pay their rent. They've seen their rents double. People that rented a place for 3 million are now looking at paying 8 million, right? People that got a place for 500,000 are now looking at 1.5, right? I have to acknowledge that there is a new bill that's passed in the State Assembly that is pushing for monthly payments of salaries that's protecting tenants, and I think that's a very, very good thing. Implementation of it, our laws are not the problem, it's the implementation of it.
We've got just what you need right here at Femi Wash Media. Call it the Midas Touch, and you wouldn't be wrong. Let us record, produce, mix, and master your audio like nobody does. Reach us on our contact today for the best quality job.
I love cocoa because of my everyday cup of coffee. You may not be a lover of coffee like me, but I want to believe that you would like to make money from cocoa if you have your way around it, isn't it? This is Cashcraft, where we share with you insights on how to make money out of different business ideas you might already know but feel uninterested. You might even not be aware and just feeling lost in the crowd trying to find what best suits you. Whether you know or not, it can only get better when you are open to more knowledge and great ideas. My name is Grace Komolafe, and I want you to join me as I spy into the cocoa business. No hypes, just what works. Everybody knows cocoa, but not everyone knows the many things it's used for. When you hear cocoa, your mind jumps straight to the chocolate, sweet, dark, rich chocolate. But cocoa is far more than a one-trick bean. Cocoa comes from the cocoa tree, Theobroma cacao, but the part used for cocoa and all the other products is the bean, which grows inside the tree's pod. The cocoa tree produces large, colorful pods. Inside each pod are 20 to 50 cocoa beans surrounded by sweet pod. The beans are the real stars. They are fermented, dried, roasted, and processed to produce cocoa solids, cocoa butter, and chocolates. Cocoa is rich in fat. Beyond chocolate, it is used for food and beverage, beauty and skincare, pharmaceuticals, agriculture and industry, health and wellness. Now, let's talk business. Starting a cocoa farming business can be rewarding, especially in tropical regions where the crop thrives. Here are key tips to help you begin. 1. You need to understand the crop. Cocoa grows best in humid tropical climates like West Africa, South America, and Southeast Asia. It needs plenty of rainfall, shade, and rich, well-drained soil. And it starts yielding from 3 to 5 years after planting. 2. Get training or mentorship. Learning from experienced cocoa farmers or attending agricultural workshops can help a great deal. Likewise, understanding the life cycle, such as nursery period to transplanting, maintenance, harvesting, drying and fermenting remains very important. Usually, cocoa trees begin their journey in a nursery where seeds from high-yielding varieties are planted in fiber pods or plastic bags. These seedlings grow quickly, and in just a few months, they are ready to be transplanted to the main farm. 3. Choose the right variety. Select high-yield and disease-resistant cocoa varieties like CRI series from Ghana or Amazonia and Trinitario hybrids. Number 4. Secure land. Choose land in a cocoa-friendly zone. Test the soil to ensure it's fertile and free from waterlogging. 5. Set up a nursery. Germinate seeds in polybags or trays for 3 to 4 months before transplanting. Alternatively, buy seedlings from a certified nursery. 6. Land preparation and planting. Clear the land and provide shade. Cocoa doesn't like direct sunlight. Space your cocoa trees 3 times 3 meters apart. Include shade trees like banana or plantain in the early years. We move to 7. Now regular maintenance. Weeding, pruning, mulching, and pest disease control are crucial. So apply manure or fertilizer as needed. Number 8 tips you need to know is harvest and post-harvest handling. Cocoa pods are ready when they turn yellow or orange. Harvest with care. Don't damage the tree. Ferment beans 5 to 7 days and dry them thoroughly for quality. And now it's time to make the cash. The number 9 tips is to market and sell. Connect with local cocoa buyers, processors, or cooperatives. Remember that quality beans fetch better prices. Hence, focus on good fermentation and drying. Lastly, I bring you the number 10 tip. Think long term. Cocoa is a long-term investment, so be ready for it. No complaints or over-agitation. Consider forming or joining a farmer cooperative for support and better access to resources. May I add that to begin a cocoa farming business, it is important to establish a comprehensive business plan. This plan should encompass key aspects such as the business description, product offerings, organizational structure, marketing strategies, competitive analysis, operational procedures, and financial details. These elements are crucial for laying a solid foundation to successfully launch and grow your cocoa farming venture. Kindly do a very detailed research to support the tips I just shared with you. So when you get in, you can come out with encouraging profits. Note, this is not a professional guide. It is just a heads up, a way to call your attention or pull you out of the lost crowd, so you can begin to think differently and think business. Until I see you again, I am Grace Komalafe, signing out on Cashcraft.
My name is Shino Ogbadegeshi. I'm the CEO of Gozi Micro Insurance. Continue to watch SOUQ News.
Adenike Adeyemi, Executive Director of Faith Foundation. Keep watching SOUQ News.
My name is Shepherd Michael Adewale Onofuye. I enjoy you all to always watch SOUQ News TV.
Hey everyone, Majuli Obaje here representing Gigi. Keep watching SOUQ News, okay? Stay updated with SOUQ News.
My name is Aton Keme. I am the head of MSME Banking. Please keep watching SOUQ News and stay glued to SOUQ News.
I recommend that more and more people should watch SOUQ News because they deal with business news.
Hi, my name is Amaka Wokolo. I am the director of the Faith Institute at Faith Foundation. Keep watching SOUQ News.
Hello, Lagos. Make we yarn.
Hello, boy, if this POS matter, don't pass your call. Person go swipe, alert no enter. Before you know it, jump.
Wait, wetin really happen?
Maybe you say alert the warriors.
Okay, so Mona, listen, if you dey do POS business, no expose your alert.
Hello, Ogbefi. They don't walk that bar road where they warrior for our local government for years.
This one sweet me, I no lie you. Because you know what, development with the work, it deserve loudspeaker. Now why we dey here be that? For here, we know the abuse, we dey bring solution. My name, it is Ikechukwu Oyemike, aka Ogbefi Ishegwari.
Make we yarn every weekday from 10 a.m. go to 12 o'clock on Top the Eye 95.9 FM.
Congratulations on the new channel, and I'm happy to be here.
The Omniverse is imagined as a collaboration platform. So it's a platform that, as the name suggests, is bringing together ecosystems. So it's like an ecosystem of ecosystems, aggregating aggregators and community leaders who are able to bring together their communities together to a platform. So the summit in itself was, well, it was a big event and a heavy lift for us and the team. And I have to thank our team of volunteers. We had a team of about 40 full-time core volunteers that delivered the Omniverse. So one of the key things about the Omniverse is that it's designed to go beyond an event and designed to be fully something that people can engage beyond the summit. So we will be launching our digital platform. We have about 70 community partners already, including a number of government institutions. So to answer the question, there's public-private partnership within the Omniverse. There's regulators, there's government departments and agencies, there's ministries. But more importantly, there's diverse sectors across the economy coming together with the understanding that tech is the biggest enabler for development across all sectors, and that if we can drive collaboration, we can scale. So that's the ethos of the Omniverse. Collaboration is the superpower that we're trying to bring to the fore. That operating in silos has not paid us, but if we come together, understand that technology affects every sector, then we think the Omniverse is here to stay. Nigerian companies, Nigerian associations, global associations, and when I say associations, it's from things like the Nigerian digital artists who have 3,000 members, right, in the NFT community, the Visual Artists of Nigeria, the Society of Nigerian Art, the AfriLabs, which is the biggest innovation hub network on the continent in 54 African countries, ISN Hubs, which is our core partner, which is the biggest innovation network in Nigeria, innovation support network, with something like 189 hubs in 30 states in Nigeria. And these are primarily private sector-driven platforms, from aggregators who are major promoters of major platforms such as Lola Shone from Ake Book Festival, Choma Ode from AFRIF. We have a lot of these people who are either on our advisory board, they are co-chairs, or they are community partners, because what we're building is beyond any one person. It's about collaboration both at the top level, but through the line down to the bottom. The role of my council is, first of all, the primary sort of mandate is to infuse Nigerian arts and culture into everything the Nigerian government does, at state level, at federal level, and to input it into schools, education, and everywhere. So in that sense, to make arts and culture functional and front line everywhere. This will involve the foreign minister, making sure it's embedded in our foreign policy, in our embassies, in the government policy, in every sector. So we're literally going to be reaching out to collaborate to all government at all levels, all other agencies, MDAs, ministries, federal government and state government institutions, to see how we can find common ground. Because obviously we don't necessarily have a lot of money, but I feel we represent the real crude oil of Nigeria, which is the IP that the Nigerian people create. That IP they create, even if